blames your mom. Nah, crap. We got it every time. Pros and cons. Pros and cons. The world blames your dad when it's really your mom. Pros and cons. We have a special guest today. It's not just me here by myself, quarantined. Today we have critics, socialists, everybody's using it. Your credit.
Come on down.
Critics, socialists, everybody's using it. We'll fix your credit. Key change. Come on down. Critics, socialists, everybody's using it. We'll fix your credit. Come on down. Come on
Oh, man.
We're here live. Bros and cons. All bros here. No cons. Well, hopefully some cons might call in. Try to con us out of what we think is the truth.
Go ahead and hit that like button, everybody.
Yeah, hit that Rogan's up.
Ring that bell.
The thumbs up.
And subscribe if you're not subscribed already.
Yeah.
That's right.
Notifications, man. Even though I feel like YouTube hates me. I don't.
Trolls are also appreciated.
Yeah, we'll take the trolls too.
I appreciate trolls, man. It's controversial, man. But it gets the people going.
That's right.
Alright, just gotta find this live stream.
Oh yeah, he's logging into the live.
There we go. What's up, Richie Evans? Christine Stewart.
Richie Evans and Christine Stewart. What's crack?
Sion.
Yeah.
Sion, C.
Yeah.
Sion.
You come out every night exactly when I get home. Amazing.
Yeah.
Richie Evans says, missed the note. That's he missed the words.
Oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry.
Matt Kruger's in the house.
Hi,
Matt Kruger.
Matt.
Yeah.
What up, everybody?
Look at that, looking insane.
Yeah.
Look, and I got my one of. It's like one long bang. I was listening to She Bangs earlier. It's an old song.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
It's bad.
Marijuana's bad,
Bad for your
okay?
body, okay? Alright, I mean, sometimes it's good for you. I think that all seed-bearing plants should be used, but I think there's time and place and discretion of the use, okay? Now, if you have lost your leg and you're in war battle and you're just like, oh, it's okay, man, just hit this joint. Are you going to be like, I'm a Christian? Or are you going to hit that weed?
Yeah, I'm gonna hit that weed.
I might hit that joint and ask for forgiveness later.
You know what I'm saying?
Captain Freedom, welcome, Captain Freedom.
Marijuana.
So speaking of marijuana, I know I can speak. You all smoke pot, right? At
That's
some point
great.
in your life.
At one point in time,
I
maybe.
realized, look, we don't even see the fireplace. We're dying over here. I'm shutting it off.
It's hot.
Actually,
It's burning up up in here.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there. But I looked at the picture there and I was like, you know what? I don't see a fire. I'm not gonna suffer.
It's so hot.
I'm just like, I'm dying.
I'm dying.
Thanks for hanging in there,
Good
guys,
comments.
while we get this settled.
Yeah. We're waiting for Richard to check his phone.
All right.
To be clear, the woman did say that we should turn the fire off before we started.
Woo! It's hot.
Richard did say that. I'll give you that.
Yep.
And I
Get off the
concurred.
pot. She looks like a young Robin off Howard Stern. Exactly.
You guys are so
Exactly.
racist.
That's super racist.
That's so
Yeah.
racist.
All black people do look alike.
And sound alike, apparently.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Thanks, Kristen.
Smoke some weed right now like me, says Captain Freedom. Well, happy 420, Captain
Well,
Freedom.
I guess
Yeah,
you are
man.
Captain Freedom, and you do have your freedom to do it.
Hi, Brandon Johnson.
Koba's in the chat. Koba from Planet of the Apes. Koba.
What?
That's racist too, man.
What did I get into
He
tonight,
gets
y'all?
it. Koba gets it. He knows what I'm talking about. So
Really,
it's the same
Koba?
Koba.
Y'all feeling the heat already. We just started.
I gotta get acclimated to what these trigger sounds are. Hopefully, there'll be more than just the sounds being triggered.
T Warrior.
Yeah,
Maybe
I'm
they'll
already feeling it.
What up,
you know?
T Warrior?
Some people triggered out there that want to call.
San Antonio.
Because we have a little phone line that is
Stop having sex at a wedlock. That's
It
right.
ups the ante. It goes like this. 818 308 5559.
Yeah, that's a call-in number, so you guys can call in.
Come on, call. Who's gonna be the first?
Take one at a time.
So
So
before that, You were saying something, I think, and then I cut
Yeah,
you off.
you guys
Fire.
smoke. You guys smoke pot?
No.
You used to smoke pot?
I smoked weed for a long time, every day.
What about
Yeah.
you, Victoria?
I did. I had a pot habit for quite some time.
You
Yeah.
called it pot?
Yeah.
I didn't call it pot.
I called it pot,
I call it
weed.
bud. You say smoke some bud.
marijuana. What'd you call it last night? Crunchy cabbage?
No, someone called devil's lettuce in the chat.
Okay.
Or yeah.
Where was I? Oh man.
I just call
Yeah.
it weed or bud. Smoke some bud.
So like, how often would you guys smoke?
Marijuana.
Probably every day. Probably. I was smoking blunts. I only like to smoke with tobacco, so it's like a spliff, or I had this called Fronto leaf, which is like a Jamaican leaf, and it was very rich of nicotine. And yeah, I'd roll it up in that, and I probably smoke about 5 of those a day.
Are you serious? 5 a day?
5 a day.
So
I
you
used
were
to-
like a vegetable, basically.
No, I was creative.
Yeah. I probably smoke about an ounce a week.
An ounce a week?
Yeah.
What? How did you afford
Holy
that?
smokes!
I worked in the business. I got taught by this felon, this ex-con, who used to be this ex-gangbanger, big guy, shot caller in the neighborhood in the valley.
Mm-hmm.
Watch too many
He
movies.
showed us how to do it with his recipe. It was like a pretty good recipe. Apparently, I got to learn that 2 pounds per light is a lot of weed to grow.
Mm-hmm.
So that was his claim to fame. He can get you 2 pounds for every light that he had in his garden.
Dude.
And then I went to work in Orange County with a really rich Korean guy who was a meth head, coke head, everything. Like, he was like just a big balling guy driving a Bentley. And we had like 150 lights. It was a giant warehouse. And so it was me and my buddy. That was our biggest job. We got promoted to that. And yeah, so I was smoking pot. I was living it. I was just bathing in it. I loved it back then.
I sold weed at one point, just because I was like, man, I can't spend any more money on it.
Oh man.
But I only smoked it I sold it so I could smoke for free. It wasn't like I was like doing anything crazy, you know.
I don't know that I ever smoked pot because I'm not ready to incriminate myself.
You already said that you did. already admitted it.
I'm not ready to incriminate myself. But I smoked pot because I enjoyed the whole process of it. I was more into the.
Me too. I love the scientifics of it.
Yeah, like what do you call it? It's
It's like a hobby.
Yeah, and it's like, rolling it, crumbling it up and finding different ways to put
connoisseur.
it.
Crunching it.
Yeah, like that.
Crunchy
We
connoisseur.
were. If I could say. No, but really, if I could say that, like, I really did appreciate the entire process of putting it all together. That made it
Did
more
you ever have a keep
gratifying.
box?
Yes, I had like 2.
I had
Yeah.
a keep box, a pollen press.
Oh, I had all of that.
all
And
that
the little
crap.
scraper and
Yeah,
stuff. Dude.
I grew weed with my mom when I was probably 17, 18.
Yeah, that's some white shit. I mean stuff.
My mom would be like, she'd be like, oh, I'm glad that we get to bond, and you get to learn about plants.
No.
That's crazy.
Woo.
No, I never smoked with my parents.
And then we grew it on. I had like tinfoil around. It was just outdoor on this little balcony in my parents' bedroom. And one day the neighbors it's so weird. They had damn.
Oh, we got a
Oh
caller
snap! Can
already.
we finish our conversation?
They're like,
please?
shut up.
The
Jesus.
neighbors,
Shut up.
just put it on silent.
Ignore him.
Hello?
To accept, press 1.
The neighbors were
Press
they had
2.
their car. Someone blew up their car.
Because they were like
So the cops
hoodlums?
were. It was weird. I don't know.
Hello,
Someone blew
hello,
up their
you're on
car.
the air.
How funny.
And then
Hello?
the cops came and turned to my friend and said,
Hello,
pointed
you
and said,
there?
Nice jungle.
Jungle bunny.
He saw the plants. This was like
Hello,
a long
hello.
time ago.
Thought I was going into a joke, man.
My friend came up and he was like, hey man, the cop said nice jungle.
We got a caller, but I can't hear it. I don't think they can hear us.
Okay, don't call in unless you're ready to hit the ground running.
Ooh, mama's here.
Are you there?
Yeah.
Hello,
Yo, can you hear us?
pros and cons. How
What
may I
up,
help you?
Jim?
Want to put
I
it
can't
up
hear
there?
anything. I'm not sure if
Give us a call back, Jim. If, we can hear you just fine.
Yeah, you got Obama phone.
The Obama phone.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we have to call in. Are you on the Wi-Fi?
We'll be waiting.
Yeah, but for a second.
Well, this is oh yeah, he's on. Oh, I'm probably on the Wi-Fi, huh?
I don't want to mess with
Let me
it.
see. Here, mind if I
And we're still,
Man,
it's
look at
still
what-
playing smooth. It's okay now.
we're right here, man. We had it all ready to go, and all of a sudden.
It was tough to hear. Yeah, the Obama. I think the issue was on his end. We could hear him, but call back, Jim. I think that's his name. Santa Cruz.
Yeah, but hold on one sec. I'm gonna have to shut off the Wi-Fi for just a sec. we should be good now. All right, because now I'm using data. I live in a cave, so the Wi-Fi here isn't very good.
Call back, Jim.
Yeah.
From Santa Cruz.
It doesn't feel like Sunday. It feels like Sunday.
This is the best YouTube. Reminds me of public access cable. Hell yeah.
I love
public.
that vibe. That's so awesome.
Thank you, Captain Freedom.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, if you want to call and argue with her.
Christian No Name. Open your heart to God, not to drugs. Amen.
And don't worry, I'm not a combative black. I'm actually quite docile.
Yeah, she's not that angry.
No.
Are you saying that being black comes with being combative?
No, being combative comes with being black.
Yeah.
Oh,
There's
please.
a difference.
Trev got his chocolate princess back on the show.
I sure do.
Quain.
Kangs and Quains.
Kang. Return of the Kang. Lord of the Rangs.
Return of the King.
Return of the Kang.
Yeah.
I have an idea. What if the caller called back or somebody else did?
Yeah. So next
Shut
caller
up.
or Santa Cruz Jim, give us a call back.
Yeah, call us,
818-308-5559.
guys.
818-308-5559. It'll get in your head eventually.
It
That's
will.
my plan.
Mm-hmm.
Then you'll be like, man, I want to call someone. Who do I call? 818-308.
555.
All right. Looks like I'm back online.
Can you sing?
No.
Don't forget to smash that like
So
button.
stereotype isn't true.
No. We're the reverse here, Trev.
So you're saying I have soul and you don't.
Yeah, we're literally in an alternate universe. Like, I'm in some kind of vortex right now. This is, it's different.
I bet you can sing in the shower or sang in the shower.
She sings.
I can sing in the shower.
Maybe
But you guys have heard me sing karaoke. I mean,
Yeah.
it couldn't have been that great if you guys don't even remember.
I guess that's true.
It was quite unforgettable.
But yeah, I can't sing. My brother actually teases me. He says I sing like I talk, which is very true. Like I'm very monotone because I feel this is me. What's the point? High, low, it's the same all the time. Can't help it. Oh my God, are they alive?
The neighbors upstairs are professional wrestlers. So we live underneath the Hardy Boys.
Yeah.
Dude, I think he
God.
fell through the ceiling.
I don't know. I think they might have dropped their child.
Yeah,
might
I think
go look in the
someone
bathroom.
got beat. I think Sean
Oh,
Connery
man.
just came home.
Maybe they're just angry. I think they must be because when they walk, they have very heavy walking, and only angry people do that. Like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Call again, Sheldon Killery. Try again.
We'll be here waiting.
Yeah, the phone's here. We're good.
They're heel walkers.
We'll
Maybe
give
they
you
ran out
like
of
10
TV.
seconds and then we'll move it on.
I'm watching The Last Dance on ESPN.
Do your best black people dance, guys. Come on, Richard.
My stepdad was black and he used to dance like this.
Ooh, that is black right there.
I think that's Mexican.
No,
No,
this
that's-
is Mexican right
No,
here.
Mexican.
This
No, Mexican is elbows up.
Oh, okay.
Elbows up.
No, but he's just
side.
like that, like just grooving.
Yeah, that's
Mexican
definitely
is like
black
this,
thing.
and the chin up with the elbows up.
Black people are more like this. We're down.
That's
like,
true. The hands up and the
Yeah,
snacks.
then the
Yeah.
snacks are like,
All right, here we
What about
go.
white people?
White people, they're like,
Call from.
this is white people.
Accept. Press one.
Yes.
Is this
Nailed it.
Jim? Jim,
Hi guys.
what up,
Jim.
buddy?
Hi, Jim.
Jimmy.
It's nice to see you guys having Black Victoria on the show.
That's
Yeah,
right.
we gotta do it, man.
Yes, sir.
We gotta do
We
it.
had no choice. YouTube said affirmative action, or they're going to shut down the channel.
That's right.
Yeah, I think that's awesome that you would advertise on the Bond Network.
Oh, yeah.
Oh
I
yeah, you
mean,
saw her ad.
Yeah, dude, Jesse's been great about that whole thing. So,
Are they playing it again?
Yeah, they played it again.
Good.
I won't go into the specifics about it, but yeah, they gave me another spot on the show, which was great. I've been having people call in, sign up. It's been good. Yeah, it's been fantastic.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually called to chip in a little bit to the conversation on the marijuana thing, but
Yeah.
since we're talking about Black Victoria's business here, I didn't want to call you personally. I was thinking about throwing some business your direction, but
Mhm.
I didn't want to waste your time quite yet. So in the months to come, when I get my my personal stuff worked out, I'll probably be calling you and maybe hiring you to help me out with my finances.
Amazing.
When you
Yeah,
get that
that's
stimulus
amazing.
check.
Yeah, dude, like it came to me today, like just automatic. I know exactly what you guys need to be doing with your stimulus. So you guys know where to reach me. Give me a call.
She knows her stuff, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
it's totally free. So you can call me. We can chop it up. Whatever. It's all good.
Yeah, I probably will need
Cool.
that too.
It's good to see you out there getting your hustle on.
Yeah, that's the only thing we can do right now. No point in sitting at home and being scared, frightened. None of that. Like we're all there's no other place to go but up from here. You gotta stay focused on that. That's what it is, man. Seriously.
Definitely.
Yep.
But yeah, I was gonna say about the marijuana thing. Cannabis cures cancer, and it seems like a lot of people that are pro marijuana don't even seem to know that nowadays. Everyone's forgetting about it. But cannabis cures brain cancer, colon cancer, every type of cancer known, and
It
people
cures
just
it?
aren't passing the word along.
How does
Cures it. For decades, you got people like myself that have been going on anecdotal evidence that it cures cancer, but since the last at least 5 or 10 years, they've been showing in the laboratory that when they have cancer cells growing in a petri dish and they introduce THC, not CBD, which is a scam. When they introduce THC to the petri dish, it causes apoptosis, APOPT.
Right, cell death.
Basically cell die-off or cell suicide in a rough way of speaking. And basically, THC kills cancer. It's proven, and it's not only kills cancer, the healthy human cells that are present in the same petri dish, the THC causes them to regenerate faster. So as far as I know, it's the only thing that causes cancer to die inside the human body, but also doesn't harm the human cells. You know,
I definitely I agree with some of that because I remember studying when I was a huge pothead. There's the endocannabinoid system. So we have a system in the body that's made to recognize, it has receptors for THC. So we have a long history of it, and the body is able to use it. But I think the trick is, as someone who had asthma growing up, to find the best way to administer it, because I don't think I'd recommend, if I had to recommend it, I wouldn't want someone smoking it, because it is going to, anything you inhale is going to work on your lungs, it's going to give you more phlegm because you're going to kill the cilia. But yeah, I think it could be beneficial.
Smoking is not the way to go if you're looking about medicinal value, especially with the anti-cancer. You have to make a concentrated essential oil, basically, out of the plant, and then you take it orally.
Yeah, it makes sense.
You know what I would do is I would take a nice stick of butter and create a marijuana butter with it so I could put it on toast or whatever I felt like putting it on.
Yeah, like ingesting it edibly is like, is edibly a word? Is
Sure,
that
it
a
is
stoner
now.
word?
Yeah.
I made that up, I think. But yeah, ingesting it, by eating it, I think is awesome. Clearly.
The best way to do it is the Rick Simpson method, and there's a documentary called Run from the Cure.
Great documentary.
I haven't seen that.
That's a good one.
A Canadian guy named Rick Simpson, and the Rick Simpson method is the way to go.
Yeah, I've tried some of the Rick Simpson oil. It's interesting. I've seen the documentary.
Is that Bart's uncle?
Yeah, I have no doubts about it, man. It's just there is the issue. Unfortunately, it's become a political tool now, and instead of demonizing it, they're over celebrating it and making it way too commonplace. So like kids just treat it like, oh, it's just like kicking the ball around. It's just something you do for fun, and we don't take it seriously.
Yeah, I'm definitely the new laws, the recreational laws that they passed for marijuana, I'm totally against. I don't think it should be treated recreationally like that. I think it's evil. I think what's going on is that they saw that humanity was going to start using cannabis medicinally and to fight cancer, and that was such a threat to the system that they made it legal so people can use it as a drug instead of use it as a medicine. And now that's what they're doing. They're getting money off of selling drugs to people, and it's really sad to see.
Yeah, I agree. So do you still smoke pot?
I definitely do. I smoke every day. I've still smoked. I was smoking when I was 12 years old. I'm 45 now. But listening to Jesse for the last 5-6 years, I see myself probably not quitting, quote unquote quitting, but I feel it kind of falling away over the last few weeks and few months. I see myself someday backing off. I'm letting it happen naturally.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Have
it
you
sounds
ever-
like you're on your way, man.
Have you ever used any like tinctures? I don't know if I've ever had any success with tinctures.
All that other, I don't know. Usually they either use glycerin based or.
Totally.
All right,
Oh my
okay.
God, that's so crazy.
All right, so we're back on the live. Sorry, Jim.
Back to live.
Let's get settled in here. We'll
Sorry.
continue with
Yeah.
this combo.
Mhm.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah.
We back.
Yeah, we're good. Just saw Trevor walk by.
Thank you for holding.
We're back.
All right, so Jim, sorry, go ahead, man. Sorry that.
I don't know. I could keep chatting with you guys, no problem.
Dude,
I got
go for
2
it.
cents I can throw in on the marijuana smoking.
Shoot, go for it. Let's hear it.
Guys, good.
Obviously I'm a lifetime smoker, but I've really noticed this last couple months I've had from not working with this fake ass Corona stuff that's going on. I'm not being as productive as I want to be, and it's because I'll smoke before I get my work done. But it's not. All my life since I was a teenager, I never ever would smoke before or during work because I was really disciplined and respectful to my bosses like that. But at the same time, I don't have an actual boss now. I'm just sitting there doing nothing, thinking, oh, I'll go out and do stuff around the house. But I'm not doing a damn thing. It's because I'm smoking before I'm doing work, and it's just really going against me. I'm not doing it. I'm not being productive, and it's kind of bothering me a little bit.
I know that feeling very well because when I was working in that industry and smoking all the time, it was one thing if I was already at the job site, we'd have to be there like at 6 in the morning every day. We'd put in like 14 hours a day. So it was easier to be there because I'm already at work, so we'd smoke like crazy. But if I was at home, like you said, it is tough. I'd have to consciously remember not to smoke until I got my day going. Like get my workout in, do some reading, whatever I got to do before I smoke.
But oh boy, what a reward.
Yeah.
Okay, my story's a little different. I literally used to be high all the time. And I would be high at work. Like I would and obviously I don't work there anymore, but the interesting thing was like it was like my highest paying job that I ever had, the most professional job I've ever had.
And she was high.
And I was high all the time. Like no joke.
Did you show up to when you went to your interview, were you high?
No, because it was one of those things where when I started with the company, I was at a certain level, and then I just kind of gradually got promoted through the years. So by the time I got to the position I was in, it wasn't that hard because when you're doing a different parts of a job in the same industry, it's kind of becomes second nature to you, and that's what happened in this case. And really, I was just bored, if I'm being honest. I wasn't into the job anymore.
You know what I think? I think it is with weed is that whatever you're doing, you're gonna do it well, in a sense. Not at least in your mind. You might not in reality be doing it well, but you think you are. And I think that like if you're chilling nice.
Yeah.
But like if you're doing like going to the gym or doing something you smoked before,
no.
I don't get tired. I like it. Like when I did smoke, whatever I was doing, like when I would make a song or whatever, I'd be like, man, this is the best. So I feel like whatever you're doing makes it on weed.
It feels like it's always better.
Yeah.
It's like that.
Yeah, it only feels that way.
It's like the half-baked scene with John Story's like, you ever seen the back of a dollar bill on weed?
Yeah. So if you're bored at work, then you're super high bored. You're bored high.
I mean, dude, I would be so stoned, but going back to the edibles, that was when I was introduced to edibles. So it's very easy to be stoned on edibles and people don't know. They can't smell it. Your eyes very rarely turn red.
But they do get glossy.
They get that
They
gloss.
get glossy.
You get the glossy. That's how a real pothead knows.
And I used to get so nervous about that, but I have a sneaking suspicion that my supervisor at the time was also a pothead. Because she was a sympathizer with like cannabis.
It's crazy to see over the years how many people have accepted it. Because I remember when I first started smoking, I got my license when I was like 18. Mm-hmm. Right when I turned 18, and I lived in Orange County, and it was unheard of, and I was like the cool guy because I'd be like, can I go to the clinic? Can we go to the clinic?
Right.
And people, like when you told them you smoke weed, a lot of people would be like, whoa, like that's not good. Like, the older generations or whatever. But then over the years, people now, they're just like, everybody smokes weed.
Everybody smokes weed.
Literally everybody smokes weed.
Yeah. Do you guys feel like it's lost its appeal because of that? Because once it became recreational, they changed the concentration amounts. They changed
Yeah, it's all crap.
edibles. Now they're only like 10 milligrams per piece of whatever you're eating.
Once it became manufactured and commercialized, it lost its quality, I think, because they just slapped labels on anything.
Yes.
When I first got that license, like there was weed that I've never seen again. It was like amazing. There was one place to go. We drive from OC to LA. It was called the Yellow House, and it was on La Brea. And they had this full security dogs and everything.
One of the first houses in Hollywood.
It was the
we
only
both
one
knew about
it
it.
was the only one that existed, and it was amazing.
The Yellow House. It was right next to the Crazy Girls strip club.
It was crazy.
Or Girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was amazing.
I don't know what they're talking about, just so we're clear.
Those who know,
Go
know.
on.
But yeah, anyways, Jim, yeah, enough about our...
I know, sorry,
Our
you
life.
just like...
Yeah, you're the caller.
Maybe I should clear the line for you guys, but before I get off, I want to just throw in there that I personally don't enjoy edibles. I never really did since I was a kid, but I want to just say it out
Since
there.
I was a kid.
Maybe kind of like you guys, the newer edibles are garbage. You don't know what's in them. Plus, there's chemicals. The marijuana itself are sprayed to death with chemicals. I wouldn't trust any of these edibles they're making nowadays.
Yep.
And on top of that, they're all sugar based, and especially if you're sick, you don't want to be eating sugar.
Right, it's not very healthy. Speaking of that, just for people who are smoking, if you're watching the chat, it's pretty. Even though it's legal now, a lot of the supply lines for this stuff comes from the same people I used to work for. And a little info on how the business works on that end. When you're growing, they're not going to just throw away a crop. So I remember we had one crop when I was one of my first houses I worked on, and it wasn't my house. I worked for a guy, but it got a case of mold, white fungus, right, or white mold. So what the guy did, because I'm just doing my job, they spray this thing called Eagle 20. It's a systemic anti-fungicide. So systemic means you smoke that, it's getting into your nervous system. Not good stuff. And I had to wear a full-on suit to go spray that. And then when we did cut the crop down and get it trimmed up, that white stuff we would just trim heavier till it's pretty much gone and it almost looks like white crystal. So, and they would just pack it up into different bags and just go sell it. And that stuff was going straight to clubs all over the valley, all over LA.
Wow.
So a lot of the stuff that they say is lab tested, you got to be very careful. You're getting all kinds of systemic pesticides, molds, mites, all kinds of things. And it's not always as clean as you would imagine.
Dude,
And it's concentrated.
Yeah, and then when they make the concentrate, it's even worse because now you're concentrating all those harmful chemicals into the resin or the oil or whatever you're making, and then it's bad stuff, dude. A lot of nerve damage can come of it.
So it's just not a good time to be a stoner. It sounds like.
Marijuana to the public there.
Yes, sir.
Yikes! That sounds terrible.
But yeah.
But anyway, a good show, guys. I appreciate you having me on, and good luck to the future show. I like what you guys are doing.
Thank you, Jim.
brother.
Be well, bro.
Who's gonna call next?
All right, bye.
Let's see. We had someone and we missed, so I'm just gonna call them back
Maybe it's
Saying
Joel.
it's Friday.
and put them on blast.
That's the stoner laugh right there. Anybody laughs like that, you know they smoke weed.
So we're just gonna put this number on blast. They called in, so call them back. Hello? Hello? Hey, can you hear us? Hello?
I guess they got scared.
Don't be a beta. Call back.
I'm calling again. Let's see.
We are going to hound you until you pick up.
Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you all doing?
Good.
Amazing.
Who is
Katie.
Katie.
this? What's cracking, Katie?
What's cracking, Katie?
Hi, Katie.
Hi, I just had a couple questions. I know that you, Mr. Wesley, are on your way to pursuing Christ, which is wonderful. And that you're kind of putting it all on the line for him, that, the Lord's doing something in you to move
How do you
that
know
way.
that?
Well, I at you, and then I saw sort of one of your videos on YouTube, and you kind of talked about your testimony and how the Lord's been drawing you. And it just really moved me, and I'm fortunate that a lot of folks are praying for you. And I think the Lord's going to, finish what he started, as he does all of us. And I was just wondering if you heard about 1 Thessalonians 5:23, that we're tripartite humans. We're spirit, soul, and body. Have you heard about that?
No,
I don't know that scripture, but I definitely know we're in a spiritual battle, and it's, most people are of the world, and are fit in the physical stuff, and but the two reality thing, there's a reality of the world, and then there's a reality inside, and so I'm definitely on that path of the inside.
Yeah, amen. So it's just great because it just I'm sure you'll see the scripture. Maybe when you read it, you'll remember it. But it just talks about us being spirit, soul, and body. And I think it's just a topic that isn't really explored with Christians a lot. That we have a spirit, and that spirit contains God, and we're regenerated, and we receive His life into our spirit, and that life spreads. The more we pursue Him, it spreads into our soul, which is our personality, or our psyche in the Greek. And then eventually it'll spread to our bios, our flesh, our body, I should say. And that's what God is doing in His people. And anyway, it's interesting that we're tripartite, because God is triune, right? Father, Son, and Spirit.
Yeah, you're dropping a lot of cool words. What does that mean?
What does that word?
Like that we come in 3 parts?
Oh, I see.
Yeah, we're 3 parts. We're spirit, soul, and body, and God is Father, Son, and Spirit. And we're made in His image. He's one, but He's triune. Because we're one, but we have 3 parts. So we're made in His image. We have 3 parts, and He's triune. Father, Son, and Spirit. So I just thought that'd be an interesting thing for you to be reminded of, or just to be encouraged in, that the Lord is growing in you. And I hope your collaboration goes real well with Anomaly.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we got some songs coming. We haven't been able to get together much. I think he's been out of state or out of town because of this virus and stuff. I know he definitely doesn't trust being in the city of LA in these times, but hopefully we'll get in soon and finish it up. We got a lot of cool little ideas.
A lot of good songs.
Well, we're excited for you. God be with your spirit. God be with all of your spirit. I'm going to check out the credit solution thing.
Oh, yeah.
I can always get help with that. So thanks for that, too. God be with your spirit, my brother.
Well, thank you, Katie. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Katie.
Thank you, Katie.
We need to figure out a way to... There's Joel.
Right.
Joel.
It's Joel.
It's Joel. What's up, Mr. Friday?
30%.
What's going on?
He black.
What?
What is happening?
Dancing for Jesus.
Where you at?
I'm watching a show right now, and it's ahead, right? So you guys were just on the phone with the lady, Katie.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sitting here wondering, where's the mic? How is it picking up you guys' sound so well?
Because we got that technology, bro, that iPhone 11 life.
It's real techie up in here.
Victoria?
Hey, how are you, Joel? I mean, Joel.
Joel.
Hi, Joel.
He's 30% Joel.
We kind of can't see. Chat on the TV is blocking you.
Oh, the chat's blocking you?
Oh, because the way you're watching it. Yeah, I gotcha.
But only if they have the chat open. If they don't have the chat open, then we can see you.
Y'all stop watching on your TVs. Get your phones out.
or get it on your laptop.
I'm right here.
Okay. I was wondering, so what are you guys talking about? I just tuned in and I didn't really catch. I heard a little bit about the weed.
We're not like fully prepared as we should be. I think that's one of the things we need to work on is being like, more like, all right, today we're gonna talk about this and that.
Cracking the whip. Dang.
We're just on here like call in. Let's talk about whatever we want to talk about, whatever comes. It will be revealed.
Oh, I'm liking Richard's the stop having sex. You sending a message, Richard?
That's right. That's right. Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah. Well, that means all the ladies in the chat signed off. Because
Right.
They don't want a good man.
I know.
The ladies are gonna see that and be like, yeah, that's what he thinks, but I can change him.
Right, Joel?
Right.
They're always like, I want a good man, and then they're like, I'm gonna break him down.
That's right.
I'll get him.
They see it as a challenge.
Heck yeah.
I'll even make him throw the shirt away.
That's why, like back in the Fallen State, it's like I would get girls by not being showing any interest in them. When you don't show interest, all of a sudden they're like, why isn't he interested in me?
Right. Yeah, they want what they can't have.
That ego.
That's true.
Yeah. Hey, shout out to the chat though, all the people, all the family in the chat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man.
Everybody, thank you, Corn Pop.
We're
Team Warrior.
That's right.
I'm unintentionally co-riding the black man.
He is. I've seen it.
It's
So-
dope that you guys.
You gotta come get on here one day when I know you go to bed at 3 p.m. But one day.
Are you tucked in right now, Joel?
Richard, don't judge. Don't judge. Richard said I have dinner at 2 p.m.
Yes, you do.
You and my grandma are the only people I know that have dinner at 2 o'clock.
Whatever. I just want to call and say hi. This is a dope setup that you guys got. Now you got me inspired to come jump on with you guys.
Yeah, man, come on this week.
Come on.
Alright, I'll hit you guys up.
All right.
Take care.
All right, bye, Joel.
Later, Joel.
I think somewhere I have a little Bluetooth thing that's a button that I think you might be able to answer calls with.
Oh, that would be dope.
Yeah, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
So if anyone else wants to call in, the line is open. He Black just jumped off.
All right, so since we got some content here, I have a question for y'all.
Shoot.
This is, I'm not real political, but I happened to catch wind of a little something last night. I don't know if y'all talked about it yet.
What'd you eat?
I actually had kale today. It got a little bubbly. Okay. Do you guys think Kim Jong-un is dead?
No.
What do you think that's all about?
All I think about is Saddam Hussein.
Are we
and
frozen?
how many times
No.
they said he died. But Kim Jong-un might be up to something, man. He might be having surgery, changing his look.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he is, but I don't know. The word of the day is Lysol. Because the media lies all the time.
I like that, and it's very true. But is anybody in the chat ready to inject Lysol? Like, did any of y'all take that seriously?
That was the silliest thing and the most
Yeah.
obvious example. He clearly said it'd be great to have something that would work like that and work that fast.
Yeah.
And then for them to just paraphrase it that he says put Lysol in your body,
Right.
just
Or
retarded.
it's just another opportunity to pounce on the enemy.
Perceived in.
Thank you, paramedic, for the super chat. Oh yeah.
Paramedic, you're the man!
Thank you for the super chats, everybody. It does help. All this stuff will eventually go to reinvest and get more equipment and make this more interactive and fun and all that good stuff.
Yeah, why is it is it freezing up right there? Are we frozen?
Are we frozen?
Are we
I hit
frozen,
play.
y'all?
Oh, because this guy over here.
There we go.
Come on, Tech Man.
It's because Joel called and cursed us.
But you know what I found interesting, you guys, is that now that he said this whole thing about the UV light and all of that, the truth is the public was just ignorant to that. You guys, and I don't mean you guys personally, but like people didn't know that UV lights are used as disinfectants.
Well,
People didn't
exactly.
even know there was UV therapy.
Everybody who hates Trump is like ready to misunderstand, and
Right.
they're committed to it.
No matter what he says, they're
No,
gonna
yeah.
misunderstand
He
him.
could be like, I found the cure for cancer, and they're like, hey, I like my cancer.
Right, I want to keep it.
Yeah.
We die with dignity.
Like that meme says, Trump says drink more water. Like Trump wants to drown Americans.
Right. I'm allergic.
It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Like, no, I just happened to notice that. It's like the reality is he shed light on something that the American people didn't even know was in existence. And what do? It's like they shun him for it. They say he's an idiot. It's like actually he's not.
It's like when you grow up in a dysfunctional family and you got like a brother or sister and they say something true, but because you hate them,
Yeah.
you deny the truth,
Yep.
and so I think that happens with a lot of people, and it stunts your own growth because you're unable to see the truth and you reject it.
Right.
It's just like if you go to school or something and you don't like your teacher, or they teach you in the wrong way, and because they teach you in the wrong way, when you're not ready to learn what they're teaching you, you inherit this feeling or like thought and idea that you created in your head about that thing, and you live your whole life judging it, thinking that so it's almost better to not learn certain things sometimes. I know I'm trolling off into something else, but I think people do that.
So is Kim dead or what? That was the original question.
Well, here I'll propose something else that you guys probably haven't thought about. For those who are into in the intel community and theories and ideas, there's a lot of signs that shows that North Korea wasn't just some rogue state. That they may have actually been tied to the CIA, and maybe Kim Jong-un wasn't really as powerful as people think. He's just another puppet that had to answer to people who are above him and kind of held him over a barrel. So,
I don't trust anybody, man.
So I don't believe that. I necessarily don't think that Kim Jong-un hates Americans. I think that he was doing what he was told to do, or he would end up dead just like other people. I mean, the CIA is much bigger and much more powerful than some North Korean dictator. So, but who knows? We'll find out soon enough.
Yeah.
Well, you know how people can say anything's possible, all things are possible, right? Well, like movies and stuff, like they show you everything that's possible, even if it's some crazy thing. And I realize that like all these like these things that are happening with these big time movie people that is coming out of certain things. Like there's these writers and producers and directors and everything, and they're running the whole show in a sense in so many ways. And it hit me. I was thinking like they're putting things in our mind, possibilities in our mind, and they're kind of making us believe that it's not possible. Oh, that's just a movie. Oh, that wouldn't happen. But these are like people that spend their whole lives planning and creating schemes and in a movie of a reality. And who's to say like those people that are genius at creating these these storylines of like how things will play out. Like it'll start like this and it'll end like that, and this will happen. Like who's like that those things to real life, and they conspire.
You can apply storytelling techniques to real life, and you could plan things like the whole Hegelian dialectic, where you create a problem because you already have a solution ready. So how you get them to take your solution? You think of a creative way to get that problem out there to drive people in that direction, which is the same way as creating a 3-act structure for a movie or a play.
Yeah.
And it also takes things that people would call fantastical, and once you put it into a movie, you're like, oh, that sounds silly, that would never happen. The CIA would never create a heart attack gun. Well, actually they have, and there's actual footage from a Senate committee interviewing the CIA chief back in the days, or director, where he's showing them a specialized gun that would shoot a chemical agent in a dart, instead of a dart, that would cause a heart attack, so that they can fake these heart attacks and assassinate people.
Yeah.
So and that was in the 70s, I think 79 or so. So imagine how good the technology is now, and how they can get rid of you.
Yeah.
And then the news, which we already know lies, just passes out that statement. Oh,
and you know
heart
that,
attack.
that society is the last one to receive the latest technology. They have technology that's beyond it, but it's a money game, and so they're like, well, we can't jump from here to here because we're going to miss out on all this money. So we got to slowly give them the technology while they're way over here. That's the case.
Yeah, and I think what's interesting is that people don't realize how fast all of this technology was introduced to us. Because I used to work in telecommunications, and I remember back in, say, 2007, it was literally like pulling teeth to get you people to accept text messaging. You guys were like, no, I want to talk on the phone. I don't need a camera. I don't want any of this stuff. We were pulling our hair out because we couldn't make sales. And now people can't tear themselves away from this technology. It's like we all just literally just took it, didn't question it. Now it's the norm.
And to piggyback the way the norms of society now, how we're veering off to doing things that in the past it would have been so evil. But now it's normalized and accepted that over time, it's like 10, 20 years, whatever. In my lifetime, I've noticed it, that like we're headed in a direction, and a lot of people like use the word progressive and moving. We need to move forward. But you could be moving forward and you're moving towards a cliff, about to fall off. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing something good.
Yeah, like the lemmings. You guys know the lemmings? They just walk off the cliff together.
Exactly.
Like no concept that the one in front of them just totally disappeared. Where'd he go? Oh, it's crazy. But yeah, all of that stuff sticks out to me because it's only because of the fact that I worked in that industry. I remember when the iPhone came out, none of you guys were lined up. Like nobody cared about the iPhone. Now you guys can't live without it. And I think for millennials, we've seen that progression. So for those of us that remember, we can see.
We grew up without cell phones, so we remember what life used to be like.
Exactly.
Speak for yourself, man. I was born 10 years ago.
He's a baby.
But no, like you remember that. Like you wrote notes to each other, you wrote letters, you mailed letters, like all of that. And when somebody called, like I remember I saw a meme the other day that they said, times were so good. Like when I could call somebody's house and their mom would pick up, and I had to figure out how to get my friend on the phone because you got to go through the mom. That's the
he had that. Remember, you call your buddy, and every time the grandma would answer, hello.
Oh, yeah, I had a buddy because growing up, I had all these different ethnicities of friends. I had a friend named Taban who was from where was he from? Iran, and I go to his house and eat like Persian food all the time. And then I had another friend named Albert, right, and he was from Kuwait, and their family came they escaped Kuwait because of the the craziness there on a boat and came here. And so I called to see if Albert was able to hang out, and it'd be like the grandma would always answer and be like, "Hello," I'd be like, "Is Albert home?" No. It was the same every time. Hello, hello, is Albert home? No. And I never forgot that. Hello.
But yeah, that used to be fun. Like, you used to literally sit there like, okay, how can I get past mom? And then a boy couldn't call your house. Like, maybe his sister could call and then put him on the phone once you get on the phone. Like, there was all these little things that used to just be so fun. And now, I don't know, kids have phones and it's just, I don't know, things are so different. I'm not that old, guys. I'm only like 22, so.
Yeah. We should be wary of technology. I mean,
absolutely.
I like the internet, but like Joe said in the chat, Joseph, Mrs. Hidalgo. I was just telling Mark how I want to live so far away from these 5G sickness towers that we just have a landline again and a message machine. Like,
yes.
yeah, it'd be nice. I want to have one phone in the house with a long cord the way it used to be, and you just walk around the kitchen on the phone, and you got to hold it up to your ear. And I even want the rotary phone again. I want to do that.
That would be dope, yeah.
And go back to that, where you have to answer and figure out who it is.
There you go.
I want to get a VHS with a Corvette rewinder. I want the whole thing.
All right, I think he's gone a little too far now, but you know.
He wants to go so far back that he wants a beta machine.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's go back in time.
But yeah, like, when, you know how you had your little voicemail, or not even, see, I can't even say it, your answering machine greeting, and, you know, maybe the mom would say something, the kid would say something.
It's like a family greeting?
Yeah.
Hey, you reached Tom, Becky, and Taylor.
Right. And then you had a little tape, you had to rewind it, and you'd lose some messages because you just kept rewinding and playing over.
You know what my dad had back in the day? I remember I used to, like, get sick when I was a kid and call in sick. And call my parents or whatever to see if I could come home.
Yeah.
And my dad had a message machine once, and I fell for it every time. It would be like, he was said,
hello?
Hello? Hello? And then he goes, you thought I was home.
Oh, so irritating, but kind of funny.
Yeah. And it got me. It reminds me of the time when we had a sugar bowl on on the table in the morning. And I thought I would be like clever and sneaky to put salt on top of it. So I put salt so my sister would come next morning. Totally forgot that I did it. Put just a gang of sugar on my own cereal, and I got myself.
That's right. That's right.
That's the last time I ever did that.
Hot Computer Smell says, let's go back to the time when everyone dressed like Trevor.
What's cracking, Hot
Agreed.
Computer Smell?
1920s, when everyone wore suits and took care of themselves and was clean. You never left the house unless you looked presentable, like you're going to a business meeting.
And segregation.
I actually...
Yeah, and let's keep everyone to themselves,
I actually, I sell broad panties. And my house are 100% off, so if you need to make a purchase.
Red deposit.
Big bump in the chat.
Big bump!
Gracie's asking if Trevor could play a little something.
Who's Grace?
Gracie?
Oh, Gracie. I don't know. What do you want to hear?
What do you want to hear, Gracie? Yeah, going back to Jim Crow.
That's right.
Well, I think that it's like segregation is evil and forced integration is evil.
Well, if you look back at, again, history's all been turned upside down. There was a lot of people, before they forced it, they weren't even having issues with each other. People stayed on their side of town, like you had Black Wall Street, So, yeah, no one should impose on anybody else. Even look at now. There's neighborhoods that stay together. You have Little Italy, you have Little China, Chinatown, Little Vietnam. Do they force other groups to come in and say, hey, you got to break it up. You got to throw some Somalis in there and let's get some Turks in here. Mm-hmm. People just tend to group with their kind.
Now, I will say this, though. I kind of, not even kind of, you can't kind of do something. I disagree with that because I do feel like with the whole separation, like we have Chinatown and, Mexican town, if that's even a thing, those places are typically filled with immigrants. Whether they're legal or not, I don't care. But that's the only thing that kind of disturbs me about that kind of segregation when I see it. The one thing that I do like about it, though, is that those other cultures have an understanding that you will be stronger if you band together. I just feel like they should band together after they get their papers. That's my only observation with that.
Illegal aliens?
Illegal aliens, whatever you want to call them. And I don't care where you're from.
Invaders?
If you're an invader. Like, if you're a Canadian, I don't care. You're still a foreigner. So, what is your thought about that? Because
about illegal aliens?
No, about like little Taiwan and little Vietnam and all this if they're full of people that are not legal?
Oh, I mean, well, two different things. I don't care if people group into groups like that and self-segregate. That's natural, I believe. Just like
Yeah, no one's forcing.
yeah, Blue Jays fly with Blue Jays, Robins fly with Robins. But anyone, I mean, the whole illegal thing, I mean, you gotta go. Even if I had a family member who came illegally and, hey, if you didn't get your papers in order, get out. I'm sorry. If they catch you and you're busted, I'm not gonna cry over it. I'm not gonna go protest it. Oh, my uncle or my aunt got arrested. If you're here illegally, I'm sorry, they got you. I actually have a buddy who's just gonna come out. He's gonna get out of prison. We grew up together. We're best friends. He went. It's a tale of going two different paths. He got into crime and drugs and ended up robbing a store. Got 14 years for it, for armed robbery. He's realized a lot of things being in there, and he's about to get out this year. But he's also illegal. His mom brought him here when he was younger, and she didn't do the paperwork to get him naturalized.
Yeah.
So he is likely facing deportation. And he asked me, honestly, like, what should I do? And I told him, you face it like a man. Like, whatever happens, happens. If they're gonna take you out, it is the right thing.
Yeah.
You are here illegally, so if they deport you, you do what's right, and you go back to Mexico, and you earn something. You have kids here, but you find a way. And if you live right, just trust. Maybe God will open up a path, and maybe you can come back in the right way and see your kid.
Right.
But for me to tell him like, oh, don't worry, just sneak back over, or do it the wrong way, it'd be bad advice. I just told him, face it, and he kind of got it. It wasn't the answer I think he wanted.
Right.
His ego wanted, but he felt better.
And I think as well, just to kind of piggyback off of that, I read an article the other day that talked about how the stimulus is actually being held back from Americans that are married to immigrants that don't have social security numbers. Do you guys think that that's fair?
That illegals get money?
Yeah, they basically married a U.S. citizen, but I guess maybe it's not an automatic thing when you marry somebody, but they're withholding the stimulus from married Americans that are married to immigrants.
Yeah, because there's a lot of fraud.
Well, is it so like the American doesn't get a stimulus either, or is it that the illegal that's married to them doesn't get the stimulus?
The household doesn't get squat.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what to think about that. I mean, is it illegal to marry an illegal?
I don't think it's illegal to do that because
a lot of people do that just to gain citizenship.
Yeah, and a little known fact that a lot of people don't know about as well is that when they talk about immigrants receiving benefits, it's a lot bigger than you guys think. Like, I work in, I don't just do credit repair. Like, I actually work in an industry where I see a lot of people that get government assistance, and I'm going to tell you, a lot of those people don't have socials, and the government is totally okay with that. There's programs where they pay 100% of their rent on our dime, and those people don't even have, they don't have papers, they don't have ID, they don't have anything. As long as they move in with a person that is a citizen or at least has a social, they can basically live in a property and get that assistance, and we just give it away willingly.
Yeah, how many people come here and just go straight to welfare?
So many, and I can speak to that because, like I said,
it gets around quick.
No, it does. It really does, and that's why when you say the Chinatown, the Thai town, and all that kind of stuff, that is why it's kind of a sore subject for me in a lot of ways because I see these people actually take advantage of government benefits.
I'm here in Glendale. It's Armenian town, and I got a lot of good Armenian friends. But even some of my best Armenian friends.
Hey man, I have black friends, man.
But even them, they can admit that there's a lot of fraud in that community. The stereotype is that they basically do white collar fraud.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have guys come in with driving up in the G-Wagon or a Porsche, and they would come into this luxury building. I worked at an apartment building, and they'd be like, "Bro, you have Section 8, bro?" And I'm like, and I would tell them point blank, I was like, "Section 8?" I was like, no. I was like, "But why do you need Section 8? I just saw your car. You're driving a G-Wagon."
Dude.
But like they milk the system, and so I don't feel sorry for that. Like they should gut welfare. It makes people dependent, and it makes you weak.
I will absolutely say that, and to be quite honest, that is part of the reason that I did start my business too, because I do want to kind of distance myself from that industry, because I can see it's not necessarily corrupt, because the government has created contracts and laws, and they've structured them in such a way that these people are allowed to do this. Nothing that they're doing is illegal. You know what I mean? It's disturbing when you're on the other side and when you see how the government works, how government funding works, who receives it, who's encouraged to apply for it. There's so much that the American people don't see, but it's right under your nose. I will tell you that some of these properties I was talking about, they're right on the beach in Santa Monica. You know, these people live in high rises. They're some of your next door neighbors. While you're paying $3,000 plus for your unit, you know, this immigrant family's paying $50.
And you know, being in California, right? I was born and raised, grew up in LA and Orange County, California, right?
Right.
And
White.
a lot of people, most people are not from California.
Mhm.
I you know, when I meet people on network and stuff, they're like, "Wow, you're from here? Wow, that's rare, right?" So all these people from different places come here, and then they complain and they vote and they change the. You know, it's like I don't have any problem with people coming and going wherever they please, right? But it's this kind of entitled attitude, like that. It's like it's just crazy to me that there's no like. There's no sense of guest, you know, of like, all right, I'm gonna pay my dues, and I'm gonna. It's like when you go to someone's house, you know, you just have some sort of like I can't think of myself doing that, like moving somewhere, whether it be a different country, a different state or whatever, and then acting like I'm just ready to change their state around. Like I just feel like it's like get adapted to it. Like California sucks, man. It's turned into like California because everybody's always voting, you know, for our freedom to be taken away, and they want security instead of freedom. Like I had to look up all these knife laws because I started liking knives and
hey, knife break.
Wondering what I can
yeah,
what I can
you guys
carry.
got your knives? You gotta make sure you got your knives.
I got this this app called Citizen, and it informs you about crime in your area, and I get notified 2-3 times a day with assaults, robberies, gunpoint robberies. Like just last night, we were sitting, hanging out, and right at the gas station, we took a walk, like right down the street. And as soon as we got home, right where we were, there was a robbery of a carjacking at gunpoint. And so we walked back over there, and the cops were there and everything like that.
We missed it, but like we could have been walking.
We could,
we were
yeah.
on the same side of the street where the jacking.
But the way California's set up and the way people vote is that they want to pay more taxes in hiring the cops to look out for us and be our security. So you incriminate yourself by protecting yourself. It's like condoms are going to be illegal soon because they provide protection. We should put that on silent.
Yeah, I don't know who the hell keeps texting.
But
So
I'm not a fan. It's like I want to move away because I want to go somewhere where I can be free. Like I trust myself and God more than you know, waiting for the cops to come.
Yeah.
And I don't like the feeling like I'm going to be incriminated for protecting myself. It's going to make me second guess situations. Like if someone robs me at gunpoint and I have a knife on me, it's like, oh, I could be. It'll be his word against mine, and I could go to jail. You know, because I protected myself.
I'm shanking.
I don't like it.
I ain't asking no questions. I'm shanking.
Yeah,
He get in this 3 foot. Yeah.
I believe you should have weapons. You should have knives. I'm not saying you should, but you know, it's wise to carry weapons that can't be traced.
Yeah, because it leads to like the criminals know that you know good citizens don't have anything to protect themselves, so they're like, well, I'll bring my gun, bring my knife, whatever, and I'll rob people, but because I got nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
They're not going to have anything. But if everybody was packing, everybody had something, they might, you know, second guess and think twice when the little old lady pulls out a pistol and blows them away.
Yes. Now, how do y'all feel about this whole, what is it, if we were an open carry state? I gotta say, I would totally be down with that because what was it in Texas where that guy was shooting in that church?
Yeah, and that dude dropped him.
Man, he got one shot in at this dude, and the old dude, the old security guard, he was on it, and I mean,
And it was great because he wasn't the only one with a gun. If you look at the footage, he just got the first shot off, but about 7 or 8 other people stood up with guns too.
Yes, and oh man, could you imagine?
If
how
everyone's
peaceful it would be?
if everyone has a right to carry a gun, there are far more people who would act to serve good than serve evil. And yes, you know, like someone said earlier, freedom is dangerous. The whole point of freedom is that you can't legislate good behavior.
You can't. Someone's free to run a red light if they want to.
Right, and some people can act like a jerk. They can say evil things. They can do evil things. You can't stop that. So you just have to have a couple basic laws in place that would punish you for the consequences of doing stupid things, but you cannot prevent them. You can't do pre-crime.
Right.
So if everyone's carrying, numbers show states that have open carry and let you carry guns have far fewer incidents. You don't have as many shootings.
People think that more laws are going to stop criminals. Criminals don't care about laws. The
That's
only,
why
they're
they're criminals.
the only thing the laws end up doing is prohibiting the
Good
good
people.
citizens.
Yes,
It
You
ties
know,
our hands.
It incriminates us,
it does.
and
it
it's
does.
just bull crap.
And a funny thing happened at this old job that I used to be stoned all the time. Something new that they're doing that we're not used to is they had active shooter training. And this happened to take place when there were mass layoffs at my old company. So that was already, enough to get us paranoid. But during this time, the officer that was doing the training was doing this presentation, a PowerPoint, and he shows the statistics. Oh, I said that right. He shows the statistics on the screen, and he shows the number of the acts of gun violence state by state. And I happened to notice every open carry state had little tiny dots everywhere. But the places where you can't carry, just colorful. It was crazy. So I pulled him aside later and I asked him about that. I said, why is it that you didn't mention in your presentation that the open carry states have less gun violence?
Is that colored states or states of color?
Colored states on the map? It was colored on the map. Yeah. So, so he kind of just gave me that look like, I understand, and he's like, I agree, but that's not part of my program. I'm not allowed to disclose that. And I thought, wow, where am I right now? Needless to say, I left that job shortly after.
And cops
that.
aren't
So-
lawyers either. Like so they don't even most of them these days don't even know the laws.
Yeah.
They know enough to get you caught up. That's why you need to shut your mouth.
And the cops,
Yeah.
like, they bait you to, that's why it's like, the whole thing about, like, racism with the cops and the system and all that stuff is, I don't think cops prey on any particular race, and maybe they do, but I think that it really boils down to knowing your rights, because if you've seen and looked on YouTube and stuff, there's people that know their rights. Black people, Mexican people, all kinds of different people. And they pull out their camera, and they go out and film in public places or whatever,
Yeah.
whatever they do, and they know their rights, and then they film the cops trying to manipulate and bait them. They ask questions. That's why being silent is
Those
your
First Amendment auditors.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you have the right to remain silent, and that's the best right you can.
Yeah.
Cops come and try to ask you questions, and their authoritarian kind of vibe makes people feel like they have to answer, but the reality is that you don't.
Right. It's
Yeah.
like he got me into those channels, these First Amendment auditors who go out and they don't instigate the issue, but they do exercise their rights. You can, if it's a public building, like they're in a lobby.
Shout out to San Joaquin Transparency.
Yeah, it's a great channel. Like there's one where he goes into a public building. It's not a police station, but he's done that too. But anywhere where there's public pamphlets or access to the public, that same rules apply, regardless of their building rules. If it says
Yeah.
no photo video, it doesn't trump your constitutional rights. So he goes in there, holds his ground, lets them get aggressive first, and then he just pushes back with
Because
the
reality
truth.
is that these are buildings that are funded by our tax dollars.
We pay for it.
We pay
Yeah.
for
They
it,
work
right?
for us.
It's our
Right.
buildings, the police stations, the fire places. Oh, it's
Oh
what?
no.
It's
Oh, we
there.
back. We back.
It's there.
We're back? All
We
right.
back.
The fire, libraries, parks, all these places are funded by our tax dollars, so they have cameras up, and they're filming, right?
Right.
Well, we can't go in and film them. They say, oh, you can't, because that's one thing I learned watching them is that policy doesn't trump our constitutional rights, and so they call the police, they come down, they get all mad because they're filming, and then the cops are like, sorry, there's nothing we can do about it, because it's true, and I got education from that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
So what's up? Are y'all calling in or what?
Yeah, we got so hit that call line,
Yeah, come on.
818-308-5559.
I'll leave
I
you
know
out
we
with a
going
song.
in, but you can always interrupt us.
We
guys.
got
Like
Corn Pops in the chat. He's a bad dude. We got T Warrior 1, Matt Kruger. Feel free to call. Brandon Johnson. Let's hear from Brandon.
Come on, Corn Pop. Come on.
Matt
Aquarius.
said,
Call in.
never talk to cops. Only say I don't answer questions.
The creeping, all the famous people that they're meeting, real ain't what they're keeping, for every other is reason. The creeping, you think it's true that they believe in, it's only money that they're seeking. The creeping,
Can you play Just the Flame?
one thing I've learned for sure, trust my gut feeling with a friend or foe. That's my path, that's all I know. I bounce back from the path of a hellish road. Shapeshifters ain't gonna bring me down. Shapeshifters ain't gonna bring me down. Shapeshifters ain't gonna bring me down. Shapeshifters.
Just the Flame?
We know shapeshifters. Oh, how's it going?
UFO.
This is for Gracie in King Joel.
We could be a fling, just a fling, just a fling. Oh, we could be the real thing. We could be a fling, just a fling, just a fling. But you know I want the real thing. Tell me one way or the other, 'cause we could go either way. We could be a fling, just a fling, just a fling. But you know I want the real thing. Just a little snippet.
Amazing.
The music is available on Spotify and iTunes, so go ahead and check it out and support your boy.
Trevor has been watching David Icke.
Yeah.
Do you know who David Icke is?
I do, the
Okay.
lizard guy.
Yeah.
But you know what? Even beyond thinking of the literal reptilians and all that stuff, I live in LA and it's a land of shapeshifting, where people, they come and when for the longest time, in the music community, I'd go to jam sessions and I'd meet people and, I'd run into people all the time. And when I run into them, they're really nice to you. They're like, oh my God, how are you? You're so dope. You're awesome, right?
Mm.
And for the longest time, I thought running into them was like, wow, like these are my friends. But it hit me. It's like, no, I didn't plan on meeting them, and they didn't plan on meeting me. So the way they act in your face is like all nice, and they fluff you up and everything like that. But actions speak louder than words. And these people don't call me. They don't check up on me. Of course, I haven't been doing that either. But at the same time, I make an assumption. But these people are just like they're trying to use you as stepping stones. They don't want to burn bridges, right? I remember when I first came into the business, people would say, remember, the number one rule is don't burn any bridges. And now I'm like, man, I don't care about that because I'm not afraid to align myself with the right people. I don't want to, be afraid of I'm not going to get far in my life because I'm going to need this person and that person. And I'm going to secretly resent and hate that person. And when I see them, I'm going to be fake. And those are shapeshifters.
What do you think? Do you think the world is run by lizard people?
I'm about to shift up out of here. No.
Adam Shift.
Okay.
I'm not
You,
cool.
oh!
We got ourselves a
Woo,
call
y'all
over here.
saved me.
She was on the hot seat.
I was about to get in. Is it Aquarius?
Corn Pop!
Aquarius!
You're on the air, Corn Pop. What's going on?
On the
Oh no,
air.
we're buffering.
What you doing, young man?
That's your phone.
Okay.
Corn Pop.
How you doing, Corn Pop?
Are the leg hairs on your legs glistening?
Do they turn blonde in the sun?
Rev them up.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I'm looking at that coffee color beauty you got over there.
Hey!
Whoa. She is quite stunning.
What you doing, young man? Listen, her daddy was a meat burglar.
Oh Lord.
I mean,
Dude, come on.
nails and tongues stuck them down the back side of her dress.
Oh my God.
Looks like two hams. Look like a flower pot on a windowsill.
Looks like two ham hocks fighting over a grate.
I mean, okay.
Person's hands in the back.
Oh, Aquarius.
Uh-huh.
You like them thick and juicy?
But I'll tell you what, it's the struggles within. That's had corn pop, all messed up.
I think picking a cereal name could be like the new thing, man. If you were gonna pick a cereal name as your gangster street name, what would it be? Could be Applejack,
Applejack.
Corn
How
Pop.
about Cracker Jack?
I like Cracker Jack.
Yeah, that could be a cracker.
Call me Smacks.
Smacks. I'd be Cookie Crisp.
She'd be Cocoa Puff.
Cocoa Puff.
She
Or
don't be Cocoa Puff.
chocolate pebbles.
Puff.
Chocolate pebbles over here.
Cocoa
And
Pebbles.
I'll be like a 10-year-old begging for buttermilk.
Oh my God. Black people can't call in no more. Why?
I thought that was a white guy acting black.
Folks, we're moral. We don't give a damn.
That's right. And you want to have a baby tonight and disappear? Oh, it got too deep. Wait. He's like, nah, I'm good.
What T doing? Is T gonna call in? T in the chat. I see him.
T Warrior.
What T?
T,
Warrior.
call us. Call us up, T.
T Warrior, where you
What
at?
T at?
So Corn
T gonna
Pop.
call in. Huh?
Corn Pop, how are you doing with this quarantine?
Which one is quarantine? Let's make it now. Let's stick the cereals here. If you feel a chain threatening to be wrapped around your head, you're going to think alike too.
If I had to pick a cereal name, I think it might be. I feel like LA has a lot of Frosted Flakes out here because a lot of people show up late and they're flaky, and a lot of people named Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger.
That's one of my favorites.
A lot of Fruity Pebbles out here too.
I actually looked up the top 10.
Now tell me we don't need to breed and have us some little tar babies running around. Huh?
Some tar babies?
That's what we need.
The top 10 cereals, the number one cereal. What do you think the number one cereal purchased in the United States is?
Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, you're real close.
real
It's actually
close.
just regular Cheerios.
I don't feel like I love
The
those.
second one was Honey Nut Cheerios.
I was gonna say
I know my
cornflakes.
cereals, Trevor.
That's right.
If I was a gangster cereal name, it would probably be Lucky Charms because
He's Irish.
hell, I look like a leprechaun.
See, I smoked some Lucky Charms the other day, and that was a good one.
I think
Let's know that.
Lucky Charms is some of my favorites for sure.
Yeah.
I went to Ireland. And I got off the boat there and we went to a store and I went to go look at the cereals and everything was like, €5 or €6. And then all the way at the end with one box left was Lucky Charms and it was like 14, 15 euros and I thought it was the funniest thing ever.
That's ridiculous. Do you like your cereal with whole milk, skim milk, 2%,
Or orange juice.
or water?
Always whole milk.
That's right.
Amen, brother.
Oh, I know.
O- only weak men drink skim milk.
I like that 2%.
Don't give me the powder. Give me the good stuff.
Yeah.
Or preferably.
Do you like grits?
Do I like grits? Is a pigtail pork?
Do you like your grits sweet or salty?
Yeah. How do you like them?
I like them done with shrimp and grits with cheese.
Shrimp and grits with
Ooh,
cheese.
we might be a match because that's the only way I'll eat grits.
Shrimp and grits, and you get you some cheese, and you put it in there with real butter and
That's the only way I'll eat
it's so
grits.
good to make your tongue slap your brains out.
Wow. I've always been a fan of butter, brown sugar. But I didn't eat too much grits though, and I don't like cornmeal. I like oatmeal.
Mm.
I like that maple and brown
You
sugar.
ain't had them with
He's
cheese,
white.
did them, no, Trevor?
Say
You
what?
ain't had them with cheese. You ain't had grits and cheese yet.
No, sir.
You have grits and cheese, then you want to eat more grits because it's good. Then you put you a little bit of good bacon in, like that corn king you was talking about. Crunch up a little of that. Put
Crunchy.
you in a little bit of shrimps.
I do like Roscoe's though. And I know because I'd consider grits and cheese and all that stuff considered to be soul food. Wouldn't you consider that soul food?
Wait, grits would be soul food? Grits only become soul food depending on how you make them.
Florida dish. More down on the coast, we have more like fried pork chops. You know, Popeye's fried chicken, red beans and rice, ham hocks, neck bones.
Neck bones. What
Rice
about
over high heaven.
pig
But they
feet?
good, though.
Actually,
People pig's feet all day long.
Oh.
you might,
Big knuckles in their eyes.
Oh.
you might not realize it, but pork rinds are just deep fried scabs. Pig
This is
scabs.
deep fried the skins.
Pig skin.
Deep fried pig scabs.
I mean, when he puts it like that. Do you like chitlins?
So much.
Do you eat
The
chitlins?
Mexicans be loving them pork rinds,
That's a Mexican thing.
and that's why they got 10 inches of skin hanging beneath their skin.
Mexicans do love their pork rinds.
They pick all those pork rinds, and that's what happens.
They throw a little Victoria hot sauce.
Y'all getting nasty. It's getting too black.
I do like hot sauce though. I love hot sauce, but I only like certain hot sauces on certain things. I like Cholula and Tapatio on my eggs, but then I like Frank's and Louisiana on everything else.
Crystal,
Right.
yeah, and Crystal's is good.
What about Tabasco?
Tabasco.
I don't like Tabasco.
Tabasco
I love
sucks.
Tabasco.
The green Tabasco's
So you got
okay.
nothing but hot sauces.
What's your go-to hot sauce?
There's Louisiana, there's Crystals. Now, when you get into the Louisiana hot sauces, you got to know which one to pick. When you're eating cheese and crackers or whatever you're doing. But that tomatillo or whatever you're talking about,
That's a
Don't mess with
no-go.
black man's house.
I would only on my eggs though. I like a little tapatio or Cholula.
Don't do it.
Only on the eggs.
That's like Mexican, that's what's that, Mexican continental. Just don't do it.
Just don't do it.
No. Just don't do it.
When I have the Cholula hot sauce on my eggs, I'm like,
Hey, you got me doing a jig in here.
Do you like collard greens?
with hot sauce.
Oh, girl, do I like collard greens? Yes. Yes, ma'am, I do.
Do you like it with cornbread?
Oh, cornbread stoppers with real buttermilk? Yes.
Oh, okay.
I only like cornbread when I got a lot of butter.
With all this cornbread and you got me chicken in my stews.
What about candied yams?
Oh my goodness.
I've been eating good in quarantine.
You're back to make me play character. Your thought this is just food and candied yams. You already love me and Jesse love candied yams. No, hold on. Sweet potato pie.
Well, yeah. What do you think, corn pop? Do you think sweet potato pie or what's the other one?
Pumpkin
Pumpkin
pie.
pie. Which one?
Are they the same?
I just stick with sweet potato pie, Trevor. Hands down.
Hands down.
Yeah, I mean for sure. I think
the yams versus the pie.
the sweet potato pie is a lot sweeter and it's a little mushier. It
Oh, yeah.
doesn't have the texture consistency of pumpkin pie. Pumpkin pie is kind of like a jelly, gelatin.
Ain't that all that makes you, Trevor? It depends.
You ever had candied yams with marshmallows?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not as, remarkable.
I feel like white people do that more.
Yeah, that's a white thing. And white people eat stuffing, black people eat
Oh,
dressing.
I love stuffing.
I'm not a stuffing fan.
I love stuffing.
And I don't like potatoes or gratin either.
Ah.
Potatoes or gratin are disgusting.
Yeah.
Let me get back into corn pop. Here we go.
He kind of broke character.
I'm a white guy. I knew it.
Just be yourself, Corn Pop. Come on.
Alright.
Is your real name like Jim or
I'm
something?
corn pop. Alright, I'm corn pop. There it is.
There he is.
Listen. Yeah.
Are you a white guy?
Just an educated black man. You know what I mean? That speaks white.
This speaks white.
Sounds like Victoria.
Sounds like a match made in heaven.
Oh, Lord.
Now, be careful with the Victoria. Shouldn't have, break the old Jesse's Law there, End up having some creamies running around or something, but
Yeah.
we
Get
some
some little chocolate milk babies around here.
word.
We need more of those.
So you got any questions for us, Mr. Pop?
Yeah, do you have any questions for us?
Or for the lovely Victoria, any
Huh?
questions she could answer?
Yeah, how did you get into bond? Like when?
I got into Bond at the end of 2018. And I found Jesse. I'm pretty sure I was looking up some conspiracy theory stuff because I was really into that heavy back when I was a stoner. And he popped up on my feed at some point, and I thought he was a joke at first because he's just it's a hard sell when you first hear him. And I just couldn't believe that this black guy was talking like this. So I heard him a little bit more, and then found out that he was in Los Angeles, and he was like very close to where I live. So I don't know. I really can't tell you, but something drew me into Bond, and I'm so glad that it did. But yeah, I found Jesse on YouTube.
Wow, I did too. I was actually looking for Jordan Peterson, and they kind of shadow banned Jesse.
That's exactly what happened to me.
And whenever I started watching Jesse, I never watched Jordan. I mean, never. I watched a little piece on Joe Rogan and him, but so look to kind of, Jesse, he's standing. With Jordan, he's kind of, it's like he kind of sold out a little bit.
Do you notice that with people like Jordan?
Yourself,
Do you notice that with people like Jordan Peterson, they use so many words to say something that they can just say with a few, and it kind of is like a telltale sign of somebody who doesn't really know the truth. They sound like it, but
Casting a spell to hypnotize you to think that they're smarter than you and you better listen up.
Exactly. that was the thing that I noticed is Jesse got straight to it and cut through all the BS and did the best interview I've ever seen. He's the best.
Yep.
He will go in history as like one of the best. I mean, really, philosophers are kind of con men, but Jesse's not a philosopher. He's telling the truth.
Exactly.
And that's why people are attracted to it, I believe.
Yeah.
Because it's just, you have to go where the truth is. People don't like lies, and they get enough of them, you know. You know, like we're sick of the fake news, man. We don't believe anything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, the word of the day is Lysol, because the media lies all the time.
A little bit of it.
Yep.
Do you think, Corn Pop, like, do you think that deep down we all inherently yearn for the truth?
Yes.
Do you think that's what drew us to Jesse?
I don't think all of us.
Yeah, I think some of us are more inclined to, and some of us are very, like you see the children of the lies, Jesse calls them. You know, there's some people who believe that they'll have a sucky life if they have to give up sin or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's really the foolishness and the lack of wisdom that makes them stay in that rut, you know, and in the anger or in the lack of forgiveness or whatever it may be. And so they're addicted to that. They're addicted. They like the sin. They think it's good for them. They think they're giving up something. They think they're giving up too much, I guess, right?
Yeah. There's a son, like, it's almost like they feel like they're a bigger person or more powerful, or like there's something important, but it's the opposite.
Yeah, their ego's wrapped up in their whole stick, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas, you have to check the ego thoughts. You know, thoughts are, you take them captive. As the Bible says.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
that's the whole thing, is not letting thoughts, you know, the Lord will speak to you. I understand that. I understand what Jesse's saying. And to some people, they receive it differently or better than other people. Like, you know, Smays, she's not ever going to receive it. And, you know, but that's okay, because we have her as that antagonist that shows us and reminds us that there's some people that will never accept the truth, no matter if you say, hey, look, it's right in your face.
exactly.
You know? So you have to accept that you can't change people and just be cool.
That's probably one of the biggest things. Yeah, we don't change people, and like Jesse's made the observation, and I've always felt the same way, that it seems like there's always just one or two people in the family who do receive it, and it's just weird, because I mean, I think everyone I know at Bond, they're one of a kind in their family, and it seems like that's just the way it works. Not everyone's gonna receive the word, and those who do just need to stay on it, and remind themselves they don't want to go like the way of Mays and those people. It's no fun.
Yeah, well, it seems to me it's like the people that want to know the truth have more character, and they're more attractive to me. So I want to be around them more than be around the other people of the world, you know?
And I you know what I think it is I think it is about surrounding yourself with people who love what's right, because it's not like it's not a relationship based on what you've done for me. Like, you know, a lot of people, especially here in LA, keep score. It's like they do nice things because they expect something in return. But when I start hanging out with people that just love what's right, they don't do that. They just, you know, want to do what's right, and it's not about me. It's not about them. It's just, it's allowing God to be that middleman.
They're helping you to set you up later for a favor or
Exactly.
something that's not done in kindness or thoughtfulness. It's done in tactic.
I remember there was a guy, and he introduced me to some people, and every time I would hang around with that guy and the people he introduced me with, he'd be like, don't forget, I introduced you guys, don't forget. He'd always say that, and I was like, man, I don't need anything from you.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you can sense that when people are doing it? Like, to you and Corn Pop, like, do you guys feel like you can sense that lack of genuine energy when you're talking to a person?
I don't think about it as much anymore. I used to go crazy to think about it and find myself judging people and thinking I could play God and know. But now I just kind of watch, and I wait till it's revealed. Mm-hmm. And I don't make assumptions, because the thing is I would create attachments with people because they were talented or with their status or whatever, and I would think that I had a close relationship because they were friendly or nice or whatever. And so I don't assume anymore. I wait until it's revealed. I allow people to, you know, show me who they are. without me being like, oh, I'm gonna, because it's kind of like something, it's a very feminine thing to do, I think. And I got it from my mom, because my mom was always like that, where she would have this intuitive knowing of like, oh, this or that, and nothing has been proven to show that. So I try not to do that anymore.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Corn
Yeah.
Pop?
I know what you're saying. I try not to be judgmental of people. I'd rather not hang around with people that are, the children of the line, or the left, or, whoever. And sometimes you can judge them, and you can go, okay, I know that's a blue-haired lesbian. Okay, that dude, he's gay. I don't want to go in there with them. But, but there's not going to really be an interaction. They're not Christian. They're not straight. They probably don't like me. I'm both of those. You know what I mean? But it naturally, puts some on the defense. Not me, you know what I mean, per se. Because, it's like we kind of already know that we're not liked, the Christian white man, you know what I mean, of power.
Yep.
So, but I embrace it, you know what I mean, and I let everybody know about it, and then they kind of get it too, you know what I mean? They're like, whoa. And so the shine will push them back whenever you claim that, if you stand up, like in Big Bumping, you say, man, you got to stand up. You got to do something.
And like when it comes to, for me, like when it comes to people that are gay or whatever like that, I don't have any problem with anybody living their life the way they want to live. And I have friends that are gay or whatever. I actually produced my last album with somebody who's gay, lesbian, and I have not found myself, nothing was revealed to me with that person, or people that have been cool. And I find that it's not about that. It's about that spirit of anger. It's people that have anger. But I do get what you're saying, and it's like we were going to the store today, and they were people were coming in through the exit thing. They were going through the exit door, and then the guy kept getting mad and saying, "This is not the exit. This is the entrance." And I said, "Why aren't they getting mad that he's pointing them in the direction of the entrance as opposed to the exit?" And I feel like that's what people are doing. It's just pointing you, "Hey man, that's the entrance, man, not that one. That's the exit."
Well, yeah, but the way that I think about it is, they have a spirit of their mother. You know what I mean? I don't want to tap into that. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what I'm doing. If I'm doing my profession, I know you're in a different profession. There's a lot of homos out there, man. You're in LA. So, you might have to interface with them, but I don't. Mm-hmm. So,
I do notice that
really,
they,
if I were you, I would not, I wouldn't interface with them. Because it's like interfacing with the children of the line. Why do we have to, like Charlie Kirk and all that stuff? Why is he trying to redefine conservatism?
Yeah, I don't like the imposing. I don't like. I know what you're saying. I like straight people. They don't try to convert people to be straight, but it's or if you do, then you are a homophobe. But I notice that a lot of gay people are always trying to convert. Like a lot of people that I've met, which they try to impose that and try to see. Like I've had gay people talk, and say stuff like, "Well, maybe you don't know you're gay," and try to say stuff and try to like.
Dude's dick, man, and the dude's straight. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so
like
it's
straight, but they want to press. Why don't they go sodomize the other guy that likes to get sodomized?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm.
Why do they got to be gravitated to you?
Yeah.
Why are we gravitated to your bunghole?
All right, Corn Pop.
You see what I'm saying?
I work with.
Serious.
Up in the cornhole.
I work with a guy who was gay, and he like every other gay guy I've ever known in my life had the same issue that like Trevor just mentioned. It's not that they can't just be happy enough just to be gay and live their life. They wanna just like an angry person sees mistakes in other people, even if they're not being wrong, just because they're angry. They think they can see gayness in other men, and they just always trying to turn them. And I would always tell them, I was like, why are you so intent on trying to spot the gayness in straight guys as if you're gonna turn them? It's almost like you're a vampire and you think you're gonna bite them and make them want you.
It's just like people that do drugs and stuff. If you're a heroin addict, you want to get somebody else to do heroin with you because it validates what you're doing.
Right.
And this is really a thing. We were just we were talking about this the last time I was here. I have an associate. I can't really call this person a friend, but what Beard Dude is saying, is so right, because this guy, we would sit and we would just talk, and gay people tend to get very candid, because again, that spirit just wants to be seen and heard at any cost. And he told me that in college he used to get off on turning straight men gay. Like, he would literally look at a guy and say, "Oh, I can turn him. I can turn him."
Exactly.
And I mean, how cruel is that? You know what I mean?
But they don't call that straight phobe.
Right, because that's literally a predator. When you really dissect it and look at the reality, there's some demon in that dude that wants to literally conquer souls. And I mean that it is what it is, because when he said that, I was so taken aback, and I thought, dude, where am I right now? Like, I'm not like you, bro. Like, that's not okay, and it's not funny,
Well, lesbians started the same thing as straight women, and there's been a lot of pressure put on straight women, the straight girls, to be gay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's girls in the third grade saying they're pansexual.
And I noticed that a lot of guys will do that too, because a lot of guys like to see two women together, and so women, I think they use sex these days to control guys. And so if they do what the guy wants, then they can gain control, and they're like, they're going to be with another girl, or like, oh, we'll have a threesome, because they want to seduce the guy into, so I think guys have played a lot of roles in that too.
Yeah,
making
totally.
these girls
they
like,
play the beta male, right? Yeah. Some of the guys who've done that, I've never thought that was cool. Never been attracted to two women, or two lesbians, or any of that. That was all kind of propaganda to me. I'm like, no, I'm not into that. I'm into, I'm just a heterosexual, so I wasn't into that. And even seeing two women get gay is disturbing to me as a Christian. You know what I'm saying? It's like watching Babylon or some orgy or some gay orgy. It doesn't matter that they're two, and they're usually just two fat lesbians. There's nothing.
Just a couple of bus drivers.
It's just some rough pumpkin pie haircut,
pumpkin pie haircut.
Okay, I have a question for you guys. Now that you said that about the girls being kind of, like two fat lesbians, what I find is that men tend to be more forgiving when the lesbians are hot. You know what I mean? It's the same sin, but it's wrapped up in this pretty package. So I do feel like those girls get a pass.
Do anything. We know that a girl like that will do anything, and she'll do it anywhere, and she'll lick anything in any crevice of your body. We do know that. But we know that Christian girl might let us do something. We might get in there, but we won't be getting our junk licked and scrubbed with her face and all that, right?
Yeah.
So that's what the difference. They're low down and dirty. I mean, they'll eat your booty. They'll do the whole nine. I never had my name. But I'm just saying, a friend of mine told me that they were very, very much freakier. Think about it. They've had their head buried in a woman's ass for 5 years. They don't have any problem cramming their head in someone else's ass.
Yeah, no, it's crazy, because another interesting fact is you look at the stats when it comes to people who identify as lesbian or gay. A lot of them, the majority of them, and I would say probably all of them, have some form of serious trauma, almost always sexual abuse in the past. Just like the buddy at work who admitted that, he did have those vampire tendencies, and he could understand that and see that in himself. What he couldn't see was that, that he denied that the fact that his abuse as a kid by his older cousin had anything to do with his being gay. Because when he told me, I was like, don't you think that's probably where it started? Because basically he felt like his mom was aware of the abuse but never stepped in, like almost like a shame. And he just like, no, I've always been gay. I was like, but did you have any sense of it before that age? Because you just said that, it was right around that time that you thought you were gay, and it was right when you got molested by your male cousin.
When you're a kid, you don't think about your sexuality or anything like that unless it's imposed on you. So if you think that you've always been gay, or like when I didn't think I was always straight, I didn't have those mentalities when I was a kid. I didn't think of that stuff. So it's like, if you can acknowledge that you were always this way, then there has to be something that sexualizes you.
Yes. That never comes naturally to children. You're right. That sexuality is always ignited by something, whether it's something you see on TV, whether it's, something you witness at home, like they said, And the thing about the gay guy that I was talking about, that was like the vampire trying to turn guys gay, we got into a very deep discussion one day, and he told me that he resented his mother. And for some reason, he thinks that he's over it, but he's not, because he's still a homosexual. He still finds it funny that he can try to turn a straight man gay. Like, the spirit is still there. You know what I mean? So
I think the reason why it's so unnatural, and it can never be natural, is that, you know, when it's done right, you marry, you know, you're having sex, you know, you didn't have sex out of wedlock, and then you're having sex, you know, you're making love if you're a woman and you're a man. Now, you can go ahead and say that and put the two genders together, and at that point it becomes aggression, and it becomes violence. It's really them just grudge banging each other in the butt. There's nothing wrong with it. You can't paint it that way either. They're just out there, getting rowdy.
Have you seen that clip of that?
See, they can't sell that to the truth. You know, people that know the truth.
Right.
You can't sell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
not
in
doable.
nature.
You can't say that they really love each other like my mom and dad might have loved each other, right?
Yeah.
Or your mom and dad might have loved each other.
Yeah, because
No,
real love is not a sexual thing. It's not lust. It's not what can I get from this person. Oh, I'm gonna get a pleasure, you know, sexual feeling from them.
It's not physical.
It's not, and I think that you know that thing, that lustful kind of fallen state thing is to so we can procreate and have a family and be drawn together to create that naturally. But yeah, like I agree. I think that if you do it the other way, then it has to be an imitation and it's pretend. You have to adopt a kid. You gotta, you know, and then you're traumatizing that kid, because it's not even about, like, you know, the argument of, oh, you don't think two people should be able to love each other if they're gay. I don't think that a kid should be forced to have two moms or two dads. I think they deserve to have a mother and a father. You know, it's always gonna be about the kids for me, and that's why I don't like the imposing of everything and trying to
you build
normalize.
them up from the ground up, man. And when you start doing this mess like they're doing, and they've already kind of gotten it done, but people need to stand up and say no, because they're trying to get the kids and turn them out. They're trying to de-ed the kids, man. You know what I mean? That's their whole MO. You know, these Luciferians, and they are like that. By the way, it's just really, it's all their cults are all, this is all about goddess worship.
Yeah.
This goes back to the worshiping of a goddess, not God, but the idea of a God. And you'll see that in the feminism today.
Yeah.
And it's came on. It's been going on for centuries now. But there's been like this kind of struggle. You know what I mean? The matriarchy versus the patriarchy.
Absolutely.
And the matriarchy is feeling like they're finally pushing down because they have a lot of maidens and they can control them. You know, and through these occult practices and stuff, they like get them with these priestesses, and they're the heads of the orders. Not the dudes, man.
Yeah, it's literally it's a reversal of God's order. Like they turn it all upside down. So they sacrifice the children. The women lead the men. They're the high priestesses. Like you got your Marina Abramoviches and those kind of women, your Hillarys, and it's all out of order and reversed.
Right, and they got that from doing that. It kind of happened during 1666, whenever all the Jews converted to whenever Sabbat Zevi became, well, he said he was the Messiah, and he said the redemption through sin. So now the Ten Commandments became the opposite. You know, you actually do more sin to have redemption. It's called redemption through sin, and it really turned the whole Jewish world upside down. You know, really bad, and left that bad name. That's where they're demonized. Everybody's like, you know, I was always like, what's the deal with the Jews? You know, why does people not like them? Well, going back to there, I guess they must have done some creepy stuff, or did they? I don't know. I'm not one of those guys either. You know what I mean? I try to find the truth. You know what I mean? So I know there's different sets of Hebrew tribes, right?
Yep.
So know that there's certain. I know it goes back to where this one group of Khazars, they were a polyethnic, polytheistic type group of people that chose to be in that religion.
Yeah, the
Christianity
Khazarians or whatever.
Yeah, the Khazarians. But that was earlier on. But Zabbat Zevi converted to Muslim. So it's kind of do thy will, really, if you just get right down to it, right? Do thy will, but do worst. You know, redemption through evil acts.
Yeah, even the Jesuits, that's another example of them converting to Catholicism.
Yeah, the Jesuits are rotten, man. They're bad people.
Yep.
They, I mean, think about this. The founder of the Illuminati was a Jewish Jesuit. He was both, you know what I mean? So, Adam Weishaupt.
Yep.
And then the other guy, after Zevi, there was Frank, and he was, according to the Jewish, historians, they say he was the worst thing that happened to Jewish theology.
It's funny because people, when you start to talk about these topics, they automatically are conditioned to think you're just talking about people who believe in God and what's right, and you're not. I mean, throughout history, there have always been people, like we're talking about here. There's different tribes back then. Jesus was a Hebrew, and some of them just happened to be, Luciferians, and they didn't cherish what was right, and they did wrong things. They sacrificed children, and it just so happens that tribe has, grew in power, and we're just dealing with their descendants. It's not that far away, a couple thousand years, a couple hundred generations, or a couple, tens of generations, and there you go. We still have their descendants who practice that type of religion, which is Luciferian.
How does Jesus make his
some
coffee?
Some traditions, and some of them are still evil, right? And some of them are good, but some of them are evil too.
Exactly. That's it's not all. Some tribes are good and some tribes are evil. It's simple as that. And people should be able to talk about it.
How does Jesus make his coffee? He brews.
Right.
Corn pop. Do you think, because speaking of the marriage part going back, do you think that sex really is only for having children and that it should fall away in a marriage after you've had all the kids you're going to have?
Oh, good question.
That is not...
man, I believe, I was always a pretty devout dude, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I get that, but at the same time, you're going to have your wife and you're going to have those, why not have sex? I understand what Jesse's saying. You've procreated, that way you can focus all your time into raising the kids instead of worrying about sex.
Yeah.
Because if you'll notice, some married people, let's just say a group of people, truckers, right? Okay, they come home to their wife and they pull out the big old dildo and poke her in the butt or get pegged, whatever. Now that can't be good, right?
Yeah.
So, and he's been hopped on and jumped on by about 25 lot lizards. That can't be good.
Yep.
So sometimes being married ain't the best. I mean, it's a good thing, but you want to have that. That's why I think Jesse says keep the sex out, because it can overcome some people. It can become a part of their life, whereas you don't want to hear your mom and dad having sex.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? It's just not cool.
It's traumatizing. It's not I've noticed that, because I remember I was talking to somebody and she felt like it was, that if she got married, it would have to be based, that would be a huge part of it, and I was so interested. I was like, why do you think sex has to be such a big part? And she's like, well, I just want to be able to make love with the person that I'm marrying to, and if it's not good, then I don't think it'll be a good fit. And it just seems so odd that she would think that, but also I noticed that she also had a history of, bad relationships with men, picking the wrong kind of guys, had trauma from her childhood, and a father who wasn't there. And it seems like the same pattern, that women who have that trauma and don't have good men in their lives kind of they prioritize sex over real love.
Right.
Yeah. And really, we, from a...
Guys are with, you know what I mean, with all that. Because they can't ever have enough, like Jesse says. They're never satisfied. You know what I mean? You can have a pecker 16 foot tall, man, and get at it all day long. I'm telling you, man, they've got energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm being straight up, man. And that's it. It's like, damn, my pecker's not, an object. You know what I mean? To be grabbed on, jumped on, and all that. But sometimes they think that's the thing, and they think that, well, I'm supposed to be happy. I'm like, no, you're supposed to be peaceful.
Exactly.
You want peace.
Exactly.
You don't want because we think about it, happiness all the time is hysterical. It's hysteria.
Yes.
You want some crazy chick running around laughing all the time with you?
Exactly.
Well, come on, girl.
Yeah.
Well, that ain't
It sounds
funny.
nuts. They want to have a dopamine rush all day, all the time. You should be level, like like a heart monitor, just a a straight flat line. That's what you want.
Yeah. Exactly, man. Yeah.
You know, I think women get confused though. Like when we're not awake, obviously, we equate those emotional feelings, those highs and those lows and things like that. We equate that with love because we figure if things are very level and there's nothing happening, there is no, I would say trauma now, but there's no disturbance, whether it's, what we conceive as good or what we perceive as bad. We feel like, oh, he doesn't love me. Oh, this isn't right. If I can't get him to yell at me, he doesn't love me because, sometimes we even yell just so we can have sex and then pull you back in. So there's so many things that go on in a woman's head when things are still. We tend to panic and we don't know that stillness is actually natural. That's what we're supposed to be feeling. We always want to feel something. Am I saying that? You know what I mean?
I get it. That's what he said about the women think they're going to be happy. They always want to feel something instead of just having peace. They always want to be on some kind of high.
Right. And the stillness is what scares a lot of women because if you're not, being looked at as an object sexually, if the guy isn't, mad at you, like I said, if he's not yelling and showing some kind of anger and passion or something that's extreme, like you said, we don't feel that it's worth it almost. It's like, what are we doing here? You're not really even showing me anything. And I think it's because they don't understand what real love really is. You know what I mean? And I say we because I'm a woman, but it's like we don't get it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's not healthy. So, what I had to learn with that girl was, they start pulling you in and you think that you could, you can change them, but that's also the same thing you learned and Jesse's taught us too, is that you don't change anybody, God does. And if they want to hold on to that and they really think sex should be a priority, I'm not saying you're not going to want to make love to your wife. If I get married, of course, I mean, you should, but do it with the intent of having a kid. You do it in the right manner and not out of, like you said, out of lust, because it's a very thin line and you could find yourself going down that slope and now it's only about the sex and it's not under that umbrella of God.
Yeah. How do you guys feel about when they say that spark has to stay there all the time? Because I've heard so many people say that and I don't understand what that is, because I don't feel like you're going to have that crazy strong sexual chemistry the entire time you're married, because like you guys said, it's for procreation. That's why it's so intense, because it has to be that intense for you to complete the act. You know what I mean? But once you're done having children, I don't see how that spark could be that electrifying for 80 years. I just don't think that that's feasible. Am I wrong with that? Like, is that...
Yeah.
What do you think, Corn Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with her. That flare or whatever, it kind of, your eyes will stray, and that's only because it's something new. It's a nuance. And I think we're all suckers for nuances. And that's where you got to take your thoughts captive because, here you are, you've had kids, right? Well, it's still fun to have sex, but you don't want to turn into, like I said, all that weird stuff. But you want to have I think it's okay to have sex if you're married after you've had kids, if you want to.
I think...
Because, you're already living together through the lust, and you're already married.
I think,
I think it's okay, man.
I think it has to do with the order. Like, if you fall in lust, you can't, the order of that. It's like, if you get to know somebody, you don't have sex, and you fall in love with who they are and their soul, and then you have family and have sex, I think that's the right order for that, because you've already connected to them and know who they are as a person and love them. And so I think it's the order thing, and anything could be your master, and you become the slave to it. I could be drinking coffee too much. I could, I could smoke pot too much. Whatever it is, I think that everything is in moderation and in balance as long as it doesn't take control over me. And I think that that's what sacrifice is too. I think Jesse on church was talking about sacrifice, and I think it's sacrificing your wants. And learn and being able to have self-control in that, so that you're not controlled by it.
Yeah, having some discipline, man.
Yes, sir.
That matters. Having a little bit of discipline can reward you so much. That's kind of what I think Jesse was saying. If you just kind of deny yourself some of the things you think that you want or that you need, and you put that off, and you realize that instant gratification and the impulse to do something, retarded, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Is going to affect you, in the
It's like
in the
if
near
you
future.
if you wake up in the morning and smoke weed and you're just high all day, that sucks, right? But if you, like we're talking about, if you go to work, you work, get all the work done, and then you smoke pot, it's like a reward. You're like, oh wow. I don't smoke weed anymore, but I remember the difference in that thing.
I don't smoke pot all the time, but I used to, and so I know what you're talking about, waking and baking,
Yeah.
Waking and baking and staying. That's kind of something on today, that way though. You know what I mean? You're going to kind of have that kind of sluggish day if you started off that way.
Yeah, you appreciate it more when you wait, you hold off, you do what you need to do, and I think sex or anything is like that. Like, it's better,
exactly,
it's quality over quantity.
Yes, and it's discipline too. You're getting a reward, and you're disciplining yourself, and it is, man. People got to tighten up, man. We're just gotten weak. We've gotten way too weak, man, in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
I mean, wow. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And we went from, being a certain way. I'm very surprised that the psyop has worked. I didn't think people would bite onto it. But you pump the mainstream media, and you pump that narrative so much into people, into the phones, into their world. Next thing you know, you're saying something politically incorrect that I didn't know what it was politically incorrect. I have to find out that it is,
Yes, sir.
Now I kind of know, but I'm one of the guys that doesn't have a filter, so I'll end up saying stuff that's sometimes offensive, and I won't ever reel back. I'll own it because I said it.
Exactly.
People need to own it and say it, stand up.
You gotta say what you mean and mean what you say.
I got into a debate with my friend, and he was a black Hebrew Israelite that turned that way. He called me up like from another town, and and he's older than me, man. I expect him to know better,
Well, man, this has been this has been a great call, man, and we've said a lot of great things, but I want to keep it moving so we can get some other calls in, man.
Yeah, let's keep moving. I'll save that one for later, man, but it's a funny one. I'll tell it to you later, all right?
Thank you,
Corn
You
Pop.
guys take care. That was awesome.
All right, take
Good
care.
dialogue, man.
Appreciate you.
All right?
God bless you.
Bye-bye.
Amazing. Let's see. We had San Antonio. I think that's T Warrior.
Hello?
Is this T Warrior?
Yeah, this is Jay Warrior.
What's up,
What's up,
buddy?
T?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. Sorry we missed the call.
Yeah, man, I was just trying to let you guys know that Corn Pop was a bad dude who hung out with a bunch of bad boys.
Corn Pop was a real bad dude.
Corn Pop.
And how you doing, Victoria?
She went to the washroom there. I think she
Went to go powder her nose.
went to powder her feet.
She black.
Oh, good.
Hey, look, she's back. She back. Credit solution is everybody's using it. Credit.
Let's talk got a little beef about all the sex and all this stuff, man.
I heard a black
Yeah,
man. I had to come back.
Corn Pop is pretty bass.
I'm sorry.
She heard that bass in the voice. She's like, mm-hmm.
I sure did. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. Hey.
So what's your? So are you Cocoa Pebble or Cocoa Puff?
I'll be Cocoa Pebble.
So you could just be Pebbles.
That's Trev's chocolate princess.
As long as don't call me no queen.
One of them.
Ask me some questions. I know a few things.
Victoria, any questions for T Warrior?
Ooh. All right. Do you eat stuffing or dressing?
Dressing.
Ooh, he's black. Yes. You are already my favorite. Okay.
What is stuffing?
What is stuffing?
That sounds like it has raisins and pecans in it.
Right, and like big chunks of sage leaves. They don't use the powder; they use the leaves. So
Yeah. Some croutons in it.
Yeah, it's like soggy croutons. Okay, all right.
And
You all
pumpkin
right?
pie is beta.
For sure.
All about that sweet potato.
I know. I might have something that might disappoint you. I don't like sweet potato pie, and I don't like pecan pie.
What?
I like pecan
Pecan
pie.
pie's amazing.
I actually like apple pie.
I love apple pie.
Apple
You
pie,
gotta
I mean,
have ice cream though.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Apple pie a la mode.
Yeah, it's good stuff. So, T Warrior, how long have you been, I guess, familiar with Jesse? Is that okay to ask? I mean, how long have you been, you know?
For about 3 years. And you want to hear something? I used to listen to Jesse. I was working on vending machines as a deck technician, installing credit card readers, so on and so forth.
Uh-huh.
And I would listen to him in my headphones. And one time I remember hearing him say some things, and it really rubbed me the wrong way. And he was talking about how black men tend to pick up the mannerisms or the emotional attributes of their mother, so on and so forth. And I got angry, and I was like, man, I'm getting off this dude is stupid. And I thought about it, I was like, I'm doing just what he said.
Exactly.
Black mama.
I noticed that we get angry, or people get angry when there's some sort of seed of truth in it, and that's why they get mad, because they don't want to face it. It's the ego blocking it out.
And so I started listening to him more because I understand his type of personality. I mean, I don't agree with everything he says. I mean, you're never going to agree 100% with everybody, but he's a very wise man.
Yeah.
Especially when you talk about things as far as race relations, the family, manhood, and things of that sort. I think he's a very, very astute person when it comes to those matters. And like I said, I don't always agree with everything. It's like the conversation y'all were having a while ago about sex. Because in marriage, sex is very important. It's not the most important thing, but it's very important. You know, in the Bible, Paul the Apostle said it's better to marry than to burn. You know, and he said marriage is actually a tool in preventing fornication.
Where's Paul
now?
He did. I rest my case. No.
Yeah, there's a lot
Stop
of
the
people
sex,
dead.
T.
Benjamin Franklin's dead, but you still spend them hundreds, don't you? Yeah, so, but I learned a lot about Jesse, and you know, especially during this really raucous political climate that we have right now. You know, Jesse has this really good view of how things are, and he's been around a long time. One thing that I learned is you have to learn from people that have been through things and people that are older. That's kind of something that's been lost in society, is listening to the elders.
Respect your elders.
Now you have people, you know, youngsters going around beating up old people.
Yep.
Yes.
I wouldn't have thought of that when I was a kid, but now, you know, that's the norm now.
It used to be too. I think I remember, like, you know, not in my time, but like, well, maybe when I was a kid. But it's like elders had a camaraderie too, where it was like, if a stranger said, "Hey, your kid is doing this or that," the parent wouldn't take the kid's side. They would listen to the elder and be like, "Hey, well, you know, I'll take care of that." Nowadays, the parents take the kid's side, and then they end up suing the other elder or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
Taking that Social Security check.
When I grew up, it was normal to be corrected by other people. I remember
Yes.
I was at a Taco Bell outside down the street from my apartment growing up. I was probably about 10, and I spit some gum out on the sidewalk. And this old man just told me, he's like, "Hey kid, pick that up." And I didn't think twice. I grabbed that piece of gum and I threw it away. And my parents didn't bat an eye. They thanked that guy. You know, and
That's how my parents.
That's
My
how
mom
it used
was.
to be.
Yeah.
My mom used to do that. She'd say, "You tell me if my son's doing anything." Whoever it was, like an older, you know, person, my friend's parents or whatever. It was like, you know, they didn't have to know each other. They had that thing. It was like, you know, you're the adult, and I trust, you know, your discretion.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And other people were allowed to discipline your children. Of course, they wouldn't, you know, give them a full-fledged beating, but they were allowed to discipline your kids in the sense of, you know, they're whipping them back into shape, like they're setting them straight. You know, you go to your friend's house, their parent can pretty much parent you at that point if they were responsible enough, you know.
Pass the torch.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. We're not that far gone from that. People, again, they just kind of forget that those things did exist and that we grew up in that at the tail end of that era, you know. I think with our generation, it really disappeared because nobody even wants to touch a kid now. Like, not like that, but.
T, do you got kids?
They want to touch your kids, but not in the way you think.
Exactly.
Do you got kids?
Yeah, I don't. You said, do I have kids?
Yeah.
No, you got kids.
I have 5 sons and 2 daughters, and a daughter on the way.
Was your first baby a boy or a girl?
A boy.
Alpha.
My first 3 children were boys.
Man, 3 home runs.
Alpha.
Now the black woman has to ask you a question now. Are they all with the same woman?
No, my first 5 was from my ex-wife.
Okay.
But all of my kids have my last name, and they were born in wedlock.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
That's good.
Nice.
I ain't no beta.
So are you married now?
Yes, I am.
Nice. Okay.
What's his name?
No, I'm married, man, and I ain't no queer.
You got it straight quick.
Like Pete Buttigieg, man.
Pete Booty Jet.
Hey, just call Pete
Butt cheek. Yeah, that's cool, man. That's always nice to hear. For me, it's nice to hear a black man that had children within, under the sanctity of marriage. That's always a great thing to hear. So.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Where I was raised up, it was normal to not have a dad around. That was normal.
Yeah.
Like, if I met someone who had a dad in their home, it was strange to me.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
dad is at home, like, it was just a strange thing, as a kid, even if somebody talked about your dad, how the schoolyard roast, your mama so bad, blah, blah, blah. When you say the mama joke, you ready to have a fight. But the daddy joke, nobody cared about because nobody's dad was around, So it was important to me to be a father and to do it right, do it the right way, the way that I didn't see growing up. So,
Yeah, you can't grow up and be a little bitch.
I couldn't hear you.
I said you can't just be a little bitch.
But you know what, T? Like, you're so right, because I remember growing up, because people did play the dozens and stuff, and we couldn't even come up with daddy jokes because it was like, okay, it's like talking about the invisible man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Seriously, it's like they're like your daddy. You're like, and what's your point? I guess we're done here. All right, see you tomorrow. That's so terrible, but that really is how it was, and I resonate with what you said about not relating and thinking that it's strange to have a father in the house. I remember I had one best friend when I was in elementary school, and she used to talk about her dad all the time. And this guy worked so much, I never saw him, so I didn't even believe that she had a dad, but she did, and I remember thinking that was so bizarre. Like, how did that work? I'm like, dads aren't supposed to live in the house with the mom. That's weird, And just to think that that's how little kids, black, white, whatever, like that's just kids of a certain generation. That's just how we grew up.
And society has conditioned people to think that, the dad's not there, meaning he's working or whatever like that. But I realize that being there means that when you are there, that you're leading the way and protecting the kids from the mother's emotional, you're leading the household, and it doesn't matter how much you're there, as long as you're there, you're working and providing for the family and playing your part as a man, and not being a little bitch.
Hey, you having fun with those sounds? Yeah. You all night trying to practice those for the right moment, man.
So T, now that and you're married, as a married man, since all 3 of us here don't have that honor yet, is it true, like Jesse says, that you can never let your guard down with your wife, and that you always have to keep that distance and that little bit of space?
Not share your problems.
Yeah, not share your problems. That even if she follows your lead, doesn't mean she's not gonna, get emotional every now and then and try and test you, and that spirit's gonna come out and try to play with you. Do you find that still happening, and you have to make sure you always lead and check her?
It depends. Every woman is different, just like every man is different. So it's not like we're all married to the same woman. There's different attitudes and different things that set people off, you know. So you have to gauge it towards who she is. You know what I mean? Everybody has different temperaments, so on and so forth. But
So do you?
she follows your. Go ahead.
Do you?
Do I what?
Do you find yourself having to do that? Like, do you
Okay,
have
I'm
to?
getting something.
Do you hold back from sharing your problems or weaknesses with your lady?
Oh man, I don't do that. I don't find her. She gets mad when I don't come home and tell her about all the problems at work. You know,
Right.
I was working good. That's it. I'm not gonna be like, you're not gonna believe it. Craig didn't give me the screwdriver with the
Exactly.
She just wants to have a little girl talk, you know.
Yeah, I think it's the sense of wanting to feel like she's contributing, you know, and
to play your mother.
helping you.
She's gonna solve your problems.
At the end of the day, that is what it is. We think it's just because we want to bond with you, but it really is so we can play mama, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it is.
They're there.
Yeah. Like, let me give you some advice, honey.
That's one of those things that I learned from Jesse. Was that, you know, why as a man are you going home? You're the head of the household. You're supposed to be the backbone of the family, and then you're going home pouring out all your woes on your wife.
Exactly.
She's supposed to be relying on you. I mean, that's such a beta move, you know.
Exactly.
It is.
You know, buckle down. Don't go in there. You're not gonna believe it. We're short $50. I don't know how to pay the bill. What are they gonna do?
Yeah, my dad did that too. He worked all the time and he made good money, but it was like Christmas came around, but like, well, we're not gonna have a very big Christmas this year because we just don't have the money, and then we'd always have a great Christmas. And I think what it is too is that women have it's in their nature to be more emotional, and so when you give them a problem, their brain and imagination is gonna start going, and they're gonna start figuring out, you know, what you should do, and it's better to be the solution finder and help her with her problems and just shut up about your own and let it be between you and God, and don't put that burden on her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, so when your wife when she responds that way, you know, where she wants to talk to you and kind of, you know, talk you through your problems, what do you think that is? Is it because, like, is she not, I don't want to say is she not awake, but does she not realize that she's being mama in that moment? Like, do you correct her, or, like, how does that go?
No, I don't think it's even any time for correction. I don't give into that. I mean, I'm not going to be like, hey, don't be asking me what's going on at work. I don't do that. I simple answer it and move on, you know?
Exactly.
I agree, man. I've found with myself, with dealing with women, that the less I react and the more I just like kind of observe, I become a mirror, and she starts to see herself because she doesn't have anything to judge that I gave her from my reaction. Because I notice with women, like, you know, with my mom, my sister, and anyone I've ever dated, that when I react, they judge me and they can't see themselves.
Yeah. If you have to explain why you're not gonna tell her your problems, that's just as bad as telling her your problems. You just need if you recognize it's wrong, like you said, keep it short and sweet.
Yeah.
All good, all is well, and move on.
Yeah, because we're pulling you in. That's how we pull you in. Like, we're like, okay, we can't get him to talk about his day, so now I got to find out why you don't want to tell me about your day. Like,
Exactly.
we try to pull it out. We're so crafty.
Because you know what I think, you know what I like is, you know, instead of you telling you your problems and wanting to, you know, intellectualize and hear you provide solutions for me, how about you rub my back? You know what I mean? I had a long day and
Yeah. How about a sandwich? Is that too much to ask?
Exactly.
A sandwich, back rub, and
I think
cess.
that-
That's all y'all want. Okay, I got it.
I think people forget to really enjoy their family. I mean, it's not a mechanism or a machine. It's a family, and God gave them to us. He gave us to each other to enjoy. He doesn't want us to be burdened and all these, you know, I have to do this. It's just enjoy each other in love and in the love of Christ, and we'll be glorified in that. And if you do that truthfully, instead of bumping your heads every time you turn around, then God is glorified and you're happy. But you can't find happiness. One thing that's common in relationships in America and is competition in the relationship.
Yep.
You know, who's on top, who's on top. Well, come on, okay, let's settle it with the arm wrestling matches. After that, who's on top. You know, like, I mean,
Exactly.
it shouldn't be competition in a marital relationship. It should be the understanding that the Bible has. God, Christ, man, woman, children, God is pleased.
That's right.
That's a word. I mean, yeah, we can shut it down with that one. That was good. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is real simple. You just
That's
gotta,
the truth.
if you just don't get pulled into the world, don't let your wife pull you into it, or any woman, even a female-minded man, it's just the same thing. If you start getting into it with a guy who has that spirit, it's the same problem. You just gotta recognize it and move on, and that stillness is the cure for their chaos. That's the only way. You have to be that stillness, just like God is stillness. We find Him by being present and in the moment. We have to be the same way.
Do either of y'all have kids?
No, but I'm hoping to. I
No,
love 'em.
sir. I don't know if I want kids.
I had a dog once.
Get married first. Don't
Yeah.
have out of wedlock, baby.
Oh no.
Heck no.
No way, man.
Heck no.
I've seen how that worked out for my friends, and they're going through hell. Still going through hell.
Yeah.
Yeah, kids are wonderful. But anyway, back to Corn Pop. He was a bad dude. He hung out with a bad boy. And I had a mechanic at the time, and he worked in there, and there was the only white guy. And he told me, you take this Sesfon Rate the pain, and you go out there and wrap it around his head. You don't come back till you kill that dude.
Yeah, I got these hairs on my legs, and they turn blonde in the sun. And the kids, they like to sit on my lap, and I like to touch my hairs and pull them up.
So I know about roaches and rats and whatever.
I literally sit up and watch Joe Biden videos just for laughter. I mean, this guy is unending comedy. The stuff
Dude.
is, I tell you right now, the poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Yeah, exactly.
He says some of the funniest stuff. I mean, it's almost like we're living in the Twilight Zone or something right now.
Exactly.
Oh, for sure, man.
Yes.
It's like they got some old guy out of old folks home and just threw him up there in a suit, and they're like, "All right, old man, talk, say something."
Hey, and I got a question for you.
It's supposed to be self-evident that all men were created by the the sun.
You know what I'm saying? The thing.
Cause like I sense like with you, I sense like a real ass dude, you know, like, and so I know you got like you weren't given a silver spoon. I could tell by talking to you, and since you've woken up and kind of like came more conservative and all those kind of things, and I don't know how long you've been that way, but do you find yourself being rejected? Cause like I feel like you sound like you got your black card in your hand, and I feel like no one can take it from you because you have this matter of factness about you, but the things you stand for are different than the herd. So do you find yourself people casting you out, calling you a coon or Uncle Tom?
My views. I'll tell you what changed my views. Believe it or not, it was President Obama. Because before President Obama got elected, I was a straight up liberal dude. Like I was for Hillary Clinton. I was for everybody that was on the Democratic side because that's how I was raised. You know, pretty much like most black people. You know, if you're black, you gotta vote Democrat. You really don't know why, you just have to do it, right?
Yeah.
But when I saw Barack Obama, it slowly made me think, wait a second, this man is the president of the United States. The first so-called black president of the United States. And it seems like he's more against black people than he is for them. And to me, he was the most racist person I've ever seen. I mean, he actually incited violence against police officers. And so a lot of the things that I saw him do were counterproductive to our society. And what people were deceived by is the cool, good-looking, smooth-talking brother.
Yeah.
Barack Obama is the brother at the party that you don't want around your woman.
Yeah.
You know, the smooth-talking, slick guy that, says everything that's right but does everything that's wrong.
Yeah, he doesn't know he's up to something.
Right.
You know, he came on the scene and, dude, I was excited when he got elected. I was sending texts, Obama, president, yay, all this stuff, you know. But then when I saw his actions, it was completely opposite of what he was doing. And so I started to pay closer attention to politics, not the Uncle Ray Ray and Aunt Shaniqua politics, but actual politics. And I started the reality of the deception that black people have been under for a long time. And so I started to realize, wait a second, it's not about my race. When I wake up in the morning, I don't wake up thinking, well, I'm black, yay, time to be black today. I don't think like that.
Right.
I'm thinking about, okay, I have to go to work, I have to pay my bills, I have to do what's right for my family and what's right by God. And so it really opened my eyes. And I'm going to tell you, I was one of the first people I know personally in my life that actually rooted for Donald Trump. Back in 2015, during the Republican primaries, I saw a debate. And Donald Trump was standing on the stage with all of these Republicans that were running for president that had been in politics for 30, 40 years, and they were just shoo-ins to win that White House. And I saw him stand there, and when he said, when I was a businessman, he said, every one of you, if I want you to do something, I'll give you money and you would do it. He said, but I can't be bought. And those people just stood there and looked at each other, kind of mumbled and squirmed around. And I said, right there, that told me he meant business. This dude meant business. Because none of them were like, no, you're lying, prove it. None of that. They just stood there and squirmed around. And so it really, when I saw people like Ben Carson run, Ben Carson's a brilliant man, a neurosurgeon. Then you had someone like Alan Keyes, he ran. And I noticed how these two black people running for president, but since they're conservative, most black people turned against them.
Yep.
And I found that strange. Like, why is it that black people run for president, no matter what side they're on, black people are supposedly for black people? Why is it that when these people are running for the Republican side, all of a sudden they're evil and coons and Uncle Toms and Bambo and all,
Yeah.
And so my eyes were open, the older I got, I started learning those different things. And so that's what it is. And also listening to Jesse Lee Peterson. I mean, I learned a lot from that man, I'll tell you that.
Yep. Yeah, it's crazy.
So do you find yourself finding people calling you Uncle Tom and Coon and all that stuff? Like,
Ain't nobody got balls that big, bro.
no, that's why I asked the question, because I feel like it's like, just from hearing you talk, like I feel like you will set somebody straight. Like they'll just back off.
Bro, let me tell you what, man. The only person that I know that will yell and scream at me is my mom. This woman, dude, this woman is a black woman. She doesn't even look black. She looks like a Puerto Rican or something. Okay, she hates white people and she hates men, but she's married to a white man.
Wow.
Wow.
Sounds like Don Lemon.
She's tougher than Don Lemon, though. But man, I tell you, if you mention Donald Trump, everything in the world is Donald Trump's fault. I don't care what it is. If you get grass in the summertime, that's Donald Trump's fault.
You get a flat tire. Donald Trump did it.
Yeah. You remind me of my buddy from Memphis, Bennett Stewart is his name, and he black, and your voice has similar tonalities, and he's conservative too, but he's cool. We always send each other like funny posts from Facebook because he's a musician too, and he sends me these crazy things people say, and we just laugh.
I'm not from San Antonio, but I've been living here for a while. But I was actually born in Temple, Texas. It's a small town close to Fort Hood, Killeen, Waco, and all that area.
Okay.
So, yeah, that's where I'm from. So when I moved to San Antonio, I was kind of the country boy moving to the big city,
Mm.
But I tell you what, I learned fast.
You got it.
Yeah, kind of. I'm thinking about checking out Texas at some point because I don't like the feeling like restricted all the regulations here, and I'm from here, but at the same time, I want to get out of here, man. California is just going downhill, man. I don't like paying so many taxes, and having all these laws and regulations against everything.
T, what do you think about cities like Waco and stuff? I've been to Dallas only, but I've looked at Waco or Dallas area, Fort Worth I liked a lot. What do you think? What's a good place to kind of get that Texas vibe without being in a city that's too similar to LA? I don't want to be in a city again. At least not too close to it.
I'm gonna tell you what, San Antonio, it's a big city, but it has a small town feel to it.
Okay.
It doesn't feel all cramped up, and it doesn't feel claustrophobic.
Okay.
It's a nice city. I mean, like I said, depending on what side of town you're on. I mean, you got that side that they black.
Hold your wallet.
Then you got some sides, that are really, really good. I mean, it just depends. Y'all mentioned I think y'all were talking about the Riverwalk the last time we talked.
Yeah.
Well, and it's pretty nice whenever it opens back up, but it's decent. Now, me personally, I don't like going downtown too much when they have little festivals and stuff like that. I don't deal too well with big crowds of drunk people.
Same here.
Because I end up breaking some ribs or something out there, But it's nice here, Like I said, I'm from a small town, so it's nice. I love Texas. You get to have your guns. You get to buy. It's a lot of land here too, man.
Exactly.
A lot of land.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you about that because for me, if I were to move somewhere like Texas, I wouldn't want to be in a metropolitan area. Because to me, the purpose of moving somewhere like Texas is to really get that American experience where you can own your acres. You can really, you want to have a farm. I don't know how farming is in Texas, but, that's really a place I could see building a life, because in LA you can't really do that. You're kind of just on borrowed time in Los Angeles, but it feels like with Texas it's so vast and it just seems so American, as far as land goes, I mean, moving there, financially, would it be worth it? Like,
Definitely.
because that's my whole thing. I'm like, I want to buy land. I don't necessarily need a house right now, but I would want to buy some land.
Texas has a lot of land. I mean, they basically throwing it at you.
Yeah.
And houses are cheap. Everything. It's awesome here in Texas.
And I hear a lot of us Californians are relocating there to places like Austin, and I'm hearing that Austin looks a lot like Los Angeles now.
Yeah, I heard Austin is already lost.
Yeah. So do you think that there's any chance that, like, liberals and, again, just that free spirit's going to take over Texas?
Our mayor in San Antonio is a liberal, man. This guy is a beta. He's trying to get us to they passed this little law or rule or whatever garbage. You don't have a mask on, you're going to get $1,000 fine or you're thrown in jail.
Yeah.
And I ain't wearing no mask. How did they make me wear a mask? I like to be right. I saw a police officer look me dead in the eye. I didn't have a mask on and he had one on. He looked at me, and I think that thought went through his head like, man, it's too early in the morning to be dealing with this black folks.
You're kind of cutting out there, T.
And you're cutting out.
You mean you don't trust the police?
The signal's cutting out. You there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I had it on speakerphone, man. But, so, our mayor is a liberal. Austin is very liberal. Mm-hmm. I mean, they have a little saying, keep Austin weird. You'll find plenty of weirdos in Austin, I tell you that.
Yeah, I don't want that. If I go to Texas, I want to be around Texans. I want that. I don't want any more weirdness.
Well, we don't all walk around with cowboy hats and boots on, so.
Ain't belt buckles.
Walking out of a saloon and stuff. How you doing down there, boy? You see this liquor? No, it ain't like
Cock-a-doodle-doo, buddy.
Well, let me ask you something else, T, because I do find that what's happening with Texas, and a big reason that it's becoming metropolitan, is not because of just the fact that, real estate is cheaper. I know rents are going up there, like, totally. They're absolutely.
Oh, the rent's going up.
They're absolutely going up. How do you feel about tech coming into Texas? Because the company that I'm a compliance partner with, they're actually based in Richardson, and Richardson is becoming a tech hub along with Austin as well, where, Apple, Google, all the tech giants are moving there. And that's honestly I do think it's going to help the economy, but I don't even know if Texas really needs it. But do you think that that's part of it too, like the tech boom that's happening right now?
Oh, definitely. I mean, it's good. It's good to have that.
I mean, any economy you want to have balance, in different types of industries. You got your food industry, your oil industry, your transportation industry, your tech industry, medical industry. So you want to have that balance in there. Texas has a large amount of colleges also, so it's a good thing to have. But when it becomes overwhelming to the point to where automation takes over employment, then that becomes a problem. When you have such a high level of automation that people start getting laid off, that's a problem.
Totally.
It's not so much the technology, but if the technology overrides the workers, that becomes an issue.
Yep.
Yeah, technology I'm finding is a blessing and a curse, and it does worry me when I start to see these tech giants go into these smaller cities and these states kind of in middle America, because I can see that they will become California very soon. Like they'll become little San Franciscos. And the thing is, these people come in, they drive up the cost of housing, they drive up everything, taxes, all of that. They literally just want to become a millionaire from their startup and bounce. So they come in like a cancer, for lack of a better term, and they kill your cities. You know what I mean? Like there has to be something that people in these places can do to get these people out. You know what I'm saying? That's the only thing that worries me about moving to Texas. It's like, dude, I wouldn't want to set up shop there and then be booted out by some tech giant because I didn't buy land soon enough. It's just nuts to me. But anyway, just thinking out loud.
Yeah, it's an interesting view.
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate the call, bro. I want to see if anybody else can call in or if we can maybe, I don't know, figure something out.
Yeah, it was a good call.
Thank you, T.
But thank you,
Yeah,
brother.
thanks for calling.
I feel like I'd rather call you Warrior because I don't think you like T.
Tea like a bee.
Later, T.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Hey, Hank is in the chat, guys.
Yeah, thank you, Hank.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, it's the Hank Report, the Hank Report. La la la. Everybody sing. Oh, it's the Hank Report, the Hank Report. La la la.
Give us more money.
Thank you for the super chat, Hank.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Wise words. Never, ever, 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 ever call in on speakerphone.
Yeah.
Thank you, T. That was a great call. Latoria making some amazing points. How computers smell.
Thank you, How Computer Smell. You guys gotta watch tech. It's a blessing and a curse.
Good night, Christine Stewart.
Christine Stewart's out of here. Bitch. I'll see you later.
Can we get a lady call in? Have we had a lady caller?
Yeah,
we had one like at the very beginning.
We got Catherine Payne in the chat. Catherine, if you want to call in, 818-308-5559.
Where the girls at? It's a sausage festival in here, y'all. Come on.
308 5559. 308 5559.
Oh, yeah.
What's
Somebody.
that?
Ladies, Hank.
I'm sure there's a Bond lady in the chat somewhere.
I think I saw Adriana in here. Queen Butterfly.
Yeah, Queen, call in. Call in, Queen.
Quang.
Queen Butterfly, I want you to call tonight. Oh,
He made a song for you and everything.
I made a song for you. The man was a convicted crackhead. The man was a convicted crackhead. The man was a convicted crackhead.
All right, I got a conspiracy theory.
Uh-oh.
Oh!
Every time they're like, before they're like, hold it.
They're like, oh, that
I don't
woman
wanna
can't
hear.
talk. Don't let that woman talk.
They're conspiring to call.
Oh, Durga. Okay, this is she's Blessed Mama. I found her on Instagram.
Who this?
Who that?
This is Durga. You're on the air.
Hi, Durka Durka.
Hey guys, how are you?
Durga, Muhammad Jihad.
cracking?
All is well.
Is this Allah Akbar?
Allahu Akbar. Peace be with you.
Thank you. So actually the name is, it was kind of a thing that I did because I was pissing off the Muslims. So it made me happy when they would respond, Durga, and then whatever stupidity they would respond to. So every time I read the responses, it was like Durga Durga, and Muhammad, blah blah blah, you're a pig, so on and so forth. So I would giggle.
Where do you live that you're having Muslim problems? I've never experienced it. Just speaking on my own. But there are a lot more Muslims. I noticed, like when I would go to the Grove, when I lived by there in LA, there was a lot of Muslims, but I never had any problem with them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in New Jersey, and we moved to an affluent town to get our kick out of the hood because we grew up in the hood. And when we moved, it totally got taken over by extremist Muslims.
Is that the state?
So they'll turn around and look at you and see that you're not wearing a hijab, and they'll literally close the door in your face.
Crazy.
I mean, it's funsies.
Kind of like Michigan,
That's what I was thinking.
Lansing. Lansing has pretty much been taken over.
Yeah, the Midwest is having a large takeover right now. Yes. Yeah. Illinois, all those
you can't
places.
turn around. You can't turn around and not see Muslims. But that's, whatever. It is what it is. But you guys were talking about marriages and sex lives. And I wanted to tell you guys, I've been married 15 years. I've been with my husband 16 years. We have 8 children.
Wow.
1 passed away, so technically we have 7 children. We love our sex life. I mean, it's not everything, but it's up there.
Well, you guys have a lot of kids, so we know you guys are getting it popping. At least the first 7 years y'all did.
We're pretty good at what we do.
Yeah, he's not firing blanks, that's for sure.
Right.
Yes, that's correct. No, but I mean, it's actually because we do a lot of counseling for church, and it's one of the major things we talk about because it's almost the first issue. Women pull out the sex, and then guys are bitter and angry as hell, which you can't blame them for.
I thought guys were the ones who pulled out.
What's that?
Said women pull out?
No, I meant like they pull out of sex, like they don't want to have sex.
Oh.
Yeah, and they don't get that women feel affection by being talked to, and you're important, and I'm looking in your eyes, and you're so wonderful, and that crap. And men feel affection by, sex. So they want a guy to come over and talk to them, their husband. But they don't get that it's like a two-way thing. You want them to talk to you, and then you gotta have sex. Like,
It's weird because I never connected, like it was a physical thing, like, to hook up or whatever, but I never got affection from sex. I thought affection was like, rubbing your back or being affectionate, touchy, but it didn't have to mean sex. I've always been that way.
Like sandwiches, that's very affectionate.
But with
You
bitter
and
women,
sandwiches, boy.
all that stuff too. When women get bitter, all that stuff too. All the scratching your back and rubbing your face or whatever, all of it goes out the window.
Yeah, because we start to resent that person. We totally resent him. Like, yeah. Been there. Wasn't married, but I've been there, and I know what that's like. It's like you pull back everything that you can offer him. You totally pull it back. I'm like, no sex. I'm not cooking tonight. We ain't cleaning up nothing.
Oh, yeah.
Pick up your own socks.
The text message gets shorter. It's like 1 word, 2 words.
Text? What's that? I'm not texting you. I'll see you when you get home, if you come home.
You ever text out of wedlock?
Did I have sex out of wedlock?
You text out of wedlock.
Oh, text out of wedlock? No, text out of wedlock. I don't even think we had cell phones when we got married.
Aw.
It was a while ago, guys.
Nice.
15 years ago.
That's pretty good.
Which seems
Yeah,
crazy.
like a big thing.
A lot of crap has happened in 15 years, but
It's crazy. Time has been flying by, I swear. Like, every day.
Technology is amazing now.
Every day goes by so fast, it's insane. We're already almost halfway done with 2020. It's insane.
Yeah. And we've lived half of it in our homes and haven't been out. Like, we've lived it in masks and gloves. Who would have thought,
I know that from
My
IG.
husband inspects homes for a living.
Yeah.
He goes basically to the hood because he's a Spanish guy and he's the only one that will go to the hood. But he looks white, which is another story. However, when he goes to places, they ask him, people start talking to you because you're in their house and they're walking you through their house. So they start talking to you and he's like, yeah, I have 7 kids, no problem. Because, they'll be like, oh, this is dirty, sorry, the kid. And he's like, yeah, don't worry about it, I have 7 kids. So, they'll be like, 7 kids? How's your wife dealing with this thing? And now they're all home. He's like, yeah, she's homeschooled. forever, so she's absolutely fine. People have heart attacks because they can't believe you're home with your kids and you have 7 and you chose it.
I know that, speaking of that, because I got to know you through social media and things, and you are one of my favorite people in terms of, as an example of a mom who homeschools her kids and does it well. Did you start off homeschooling from day one? And how do you make it work?
God's grace. It really is just God. He fills in the holes. It's like parenting and marriage. If you have God, He fills in the holes. But the other thing is like,
good.
what's that?
You said so. Sex is good.
If God's filling in the holes, then we have to too.
Well, yeah, for sure. You have to put in your part. Like, I'm not gonna lay in bed all day. I have to put in my part for whatever I can't meet because I'm human. God will fill in the rest.
Exactly.
What do you do in those times you feel frustrated? Like, do you ever feel frustrated while homeschooling?
All the time. Are you kidding me? I'm an introvert. I like to be by myself all the time. But they're little people. They're human beings. So I talk to them like people. And I'm like, dude, you're being really obnoxious right now, and I don't know why. Can you walk over there and do something about yourself and come back and talk to me better?
That reminds me. It's like I noticed, like my sister and a lot of people, when the kids are young, they kind of baby talk the kids. I feel like that kind of hinders them to growing, and like I think from a baby, you should talk to them like they're adults, like you would anybody. Because it makes them kind of want to, they get attached to that kind of emotional thing, and they don't want to grow up, and it stunts their growth, I think.
You treat them like a baby instead of a soon-to-be adult.
Yeah, and you talk to your animals like that too. You're like,
Come here.
hey, yeah, come on here.
Yeah. It's kind of condescending. Yeah. That's interesting, though. So, I mean, have you ever hit your kids?
Yeah.
Spank them?
Spanked, yeah, that's different.
Oh, girl, you ever beat them? Have you beat them?
I definitely have spanked my kids, and I definitely think it's necessary for some kids. But I don't think it's ever okay to spank a kid when you're angry, because that's you being a bully to your kid.
Yeah.
You're not hitting them because you're pissed off. You're not on the street. You're not fighting somebody. That's not what it's for. You're going to spank that kid after you've talked about, listen, I don't want you to do X, Y, Z. If you do X, Y, Z, these are the consequences. And it's not for like stupid stuff. It's for like the most extreme thing you can think of.
I agree. I think that it's important to teach kids, because kids, they need to learn cause and effect, because when you're an adult, you might make a decision and do something where the effects of that decision you made will change your life and for the worse. And so from a young age, you gotta create those consequences so that they can get used to seeing, oh wow, if I do this, this happens.
Precisely. We live off of 3 major roads. If they leave my backyard, they can get hit by those 4-wheelers, the giant trucks, at any moment, because they come down here all the time. If you leave the gate, I'm going to spank you. Don't leave the gate. It's that simple.
And they won't leave the gate.
After 1 or 2 spanking, what's that?
They won't leave the gate.
Right, and if I have to spank you 1 or 2, the 3rd time, you're not going out by yourself. Well, not that they ever go out by themselves, because there's 7 of them, but you know what I mean? Like, you're not going out without the oldest sibling anymore, or whatever. Because sometimes, you're doing something, like you're doing geometry with the oldest, the younger ones kind of get, in the way, and they get annoying, so you go, okay, guys, go play outside while we do this. So, but that's never really happened. I've never had to do that. Maybe a ball went over the fence, they'll come in and ask, can I go get the ball in the neighbor's yard? But not, they don't go out.
Yeah,
But that's one of the reasons,
When I was a kid, my parents they had like some little get together, and I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and they were smoking outside, and I remember watching them smoke, and I said, I don't want a cigarette. My dad said, oh yeah, here, try it, and he gave it to me, and I hit it, and I'm trying to think, like, was that a bad thing or a good thing? Because when I coughed, and I was like, oh, I don't like that. But then, of course, eventually I ended up stealing cigarettes and smoking.
Of course, I wouldn't have done it, but...
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But because at the same time, it's like you're a kid, right? And you see all the adults are smoking. And then, you're the one, like, you can't do it, but everyone else is doing it. And then you're going to be like, well, I want to try it. I want to do that. And so eventually...
I'll say to you what I do with my kids. I tell them, look,
adults are stupid, just like kids. We're just slightly less stupid. You're gonna see us do bad things. You're gonna see us get upset. You're gonna see us, lose our temper. That doesn't mean it's okay. Learn from us. If you think it's bad, it's probably bad. Learn from us.
Mm-hmm.
Good point.
Yeah.
I was given beer at a young age, just like Trevor got the cigarette. My dad did the same thing. We were at a funeral for a distant relative, and I saw all the guys drinking beer, and I always, was curious. And he goes, "Here, have one." Took a sip, spit it right out, and I didn't want to drink. I didn't drink till till college maybe. Like I had no desire to party.
I didn't start stealing cigarettes until I was like 16 or 17, and then eventually, when we got caught, it would be like, oh, you're in trouble. But then eventually, we were getting cartons of cigarettes in our stockings for Christmas.
Oh, bad.
Oh my God.
That's kids, man.
Well, I'll tell you guys, what my perspective comes from is not from a strict upbringing. I came from the opposite of that. My mom was my best, not for me, she wanted to be my best friend. So she literally let me do anything.
Wow.
And I feel like I suffered from having way too many damn freedoms.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So I was an addict, and I was, sleeping around, and I was doing horrible stuff that I shouldn't have been doing. Luckily, I came to Christ young. My parents were all pissed that I came to Christ, my family. I was the only Christian for many years. But it was because I came to Christ that I walked away from all the other stuff. But it was a blessing because my parents didn't put any discipline down.
Was your dad always in your life?
Yes, he still is. My mom and dad are still. My mother is the atypical woman that Jesse Lee Peterson talks about. That horrible wench of a human being.
So she runs the family. She's the head of the house.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she's garbage too. My dad always made a good deal of money because he had 2 jobs, and we never had money. We never had money. Bills were never paid. Things never got done. We were always super freaking poor, and it was because she would spend it on. She couldn't tell you what she spent it on. She bought shoes and hats and purses and just crap, unnecessary things. And my dad has never had a brand new car. To this day, he's never had a drive off the lot brand new car with all the money that he's made because she spent it on nothing.
That's
Literal
amazing.
nothing.
That's nuts. I've had some friends with that, with a mother, or a woman who raised them, just spend every penny while the husband was around, and even spend the kids' money, or ruin their credit, like Jesse jokes about, but it's true. Like
she ruined my credit. My mother ruined my credit. Yeah, she had to take out a credit card. She used all the money. She never paid for it. She ruined my credit.
Wow.
I can relate to what you mean when
she also sabotaged me from going to college. When I started going to college, she would take my car in the morning. She wouldn't come back. I would miss all my classes. So I failed my first year of college because I couldn't get to any class.
Sounds
we live
like
in Jersey. You need a car for everything.
She sounds like a real.
Oh, she's dumb. But the funny part is that when I finally got married, she gave me hell for getting married and not going to college. So, it was ridiculous. It was really ridiculous. She pretended to faint when I told her I was pregnant with my second child. She's never helped me once with any of my kids. Not that I would ever want to have her help me ever. She's garbage. She's a pure narcissist. It's all about her. Everything's about her. But the funny thing is like my aunts, my sister, my cousins, all my friends, they all really were pissed off at me for choosing to stay at home, raise children, and homeschool. I have 2 aunts that refused to talk to me at my brother's wedding in May. They refused to say hello to me because I chose to homeschool and have my kids and be different than them. Every time they saw me, why would you waste your life? Why didn't you finish college? Why would you do this to yourself? Like super feminist.
Mm-hmm.
But when I saw them in May, they wouldn't even say hello to me.
Have you forgiven your mom?
Oh, God. I just saw Jesse talking to Stefan, and I was like, darn it. No, I don't think I have. It's hard to because every time I try, she does something else. And I'm like, damn it, woman, I just freaking forgave you. It's like, it's hard. And you know what I'm bitter about right now? That she's 69, she's getting older, and she never took care of me. And now that she's needing to be taken care of, she's being very needy. She's always been needy. Yeah. I've always had to take care of her. But now she's having a real excuse. Like, she's 69. it's a real excuse. And it pisses me off because I'm like, I'm going to have to take care of a person who literally never took care of me and never did anything for me.
Do you believe that you have to? Because I'll tell you from my personal experience, I take no ownership in the care of my mother. Like, I sat and had a real conversation with her, and this was actually before I forgave her. And I told her, Mom, you're getting older. I know you're able to, move about. Everything's great, and you're married. But let's be honest, like, your husband's a lot older than you, so he's probably going to break down before you do. When you get older, because I will have, my own life and my own family, what are the plans here? Do you want us to put you in a home? Is there a particular person that you want to be with? Because I know for sure that I can't do it. I've already told her. So, and there was no emotion when I told her that. It was just a matter of fact, because I don't feel that obligation to my mother. Because I'm very clear about that it's not natural to me. But, I mean, what are your thoughts?
Mom, if you don't straighten up, I am putting you in a home.
No, I mean, and she took it very, like, she didn't go off or anything. Like, she knew, because I think that she could feel that I really meant what I was saying, because there wasn't any emotion there. And I was surprised at myself when I said it to her, but because I've worked with seniors before, and I've seen the seniors that are trying to get on by themselves, and it is a tough thing to see. But it's because those people haven't set up that plan. Will you go to a home? What will you do? Will you have in-home support? These are realistic questions. And maybe you could try asking your mom those things, without the emotion.
She's been telling us since I was a child that she wants to be in a home because she doesn't want to be taken care of by anyone. Mm-hmm. However, I have 3 older siblings. They're 12, 10, and 8 years older than I am. And they really are adamant about taking care of her. And if they want to take care of her, they can take care of her.
Yeah, if they want to do that, you let them suffer, because I did that. I mean, look, in a way, I got lucky. My mom passed away, so I didn't have to.
You did.
She did. I didn't have to deal with that, But I don't say that to be mean.
No. I get it.
But I was on my way to doing that. I was the son who thought that I was like paying my dues and earning my place, like, to get right with God by taking care of her, because she was very ill before she passed. And looking back, I realized I was setting myself up for a terrible life. And I'd already suffered a lot and been under that spell when you're super beta with that. But yeah, it's the wrong way to go. Like, if your siblings want to take care of her, let them. I still got brothers who feel the same way, and they don't recognize how much my mom's anger destroyed some of us. And it's just funny, because it's just not, they're not always going to see it. It's only 1 or 2 kids in the bunch who are going to get picked out, and you got to be cool with that. If I never talk to some of my family again, it is what it is. It's okay. My door's always open. I'll always welcome a call, but I don't feel like I need to go out of the way to stay in contact with certain people. It's just, I think I'm closer to these people here, Jesse and
these people.
Trevor,
hey, that's racist.
And Victoria.
You people.
These people. I like these colored people here. They're my friends.
So colored.
I think that my siblings have a different perspective of her because I'm a first-generation immigrant to the country, and I am legal, guys. Don't worry. But when we came here, I said they're much older than I am. I was only a year old. They were, 13, 11, and 9. But the whole time they lived in Argentina, my grandparents raised them because they lived in the house with my grandparents. So they're totally different childhood than I had. They had grandparents that adored them. They had aunts and uncles and cousins next door. They had, a community around them that took care of them and loved them. I literally had babysitters that were strangers, didn't feed me, would hit me. Some of them sexually abused me. But my life was totally different than theirs. And it's funny because my sister will often say, I feel like when you talk about your life, it's totally different than mine. I'm like, yeah, no shit. Like, obviously, our lives were totally different.
Yeah. I know that's
so they don't have the point of view that I have about my mother.
When I stepped away earlier, I heard you say that you have not yet forgiven your mother. And everything you know now, and it seems like you're kind of awake to how the world is really just about good and evil, black or white. Do you understand how important it is to go to her, and will you go to her and tell her?
Absolutely. Absolutely, I have to forgive her. I just don't know how. And I was actually going to ask, how did you forgive your mother?
I'll tell you like this. There is no planning, and it's not like it needs to be said in a certain sequence, like these magic words. It really is like, I think the best way that I heard it was from Jesse when he said that once you understand that you couldn't help yourself, when I messed up, like that was the biggest thing, because I was like, I look back and I realized, yeah, you know what, I really couldn't help myself. You know, I've been arrested. I spent time in county. You know, I was, in the weed business when it was illegal. I could have got myself in a whole loads of trouble, like facing felonies. It's just nuts. So I realized, man, I really couldn't help myself. And I couldn't do what was right. So who am I to resent my mom for doing what was wrong to me? And once you realize that, it's like, it just, I don't know, for me, the weight came off, and it was just like, it was easy. It was just like, hey, you know what, I forgive you. I realized I hated you in a lot of ways, and I just want to say I'm sorry for resenting you. And that I forgive you. It was that simple. It was just, don't plan it. You just have to know yourself. That is the most important thing. But you have to know, you have to do it for yourself. Don't just go to her and say these words. You have to understand that she couldn't help it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. No, you're right. That makes a lot of sense. But then I have a follow-up question. So what happens when the behaviors continue?
It doesn't matter, because it's not about her. It's about you. You need to forgive her. She can die like my mom did. She can laugh at your face. She can scream you, cuss you out. She can never talk to you again. It doesn't matter what she does. What matters is like what God told us, that you need to go and forgive, not that that they need to forgive you.
It's not what she's doing, it's how you're interpreting it and reacting to it. Like, there's something inside you that's allowing it to get to you. It's like, you have buttons to be pushed. So what are those buttons? And release yourself from those buttons so that you could just end up watching her like a movie and not reacting. Because like I was saying to someone else earlier, like, the more you react, the more she'll be have something to judge you for. But if you don't react, you become a mirror, and then she's going to only be able to see and hear what she did and what she said and reflect on that,
Thank you, guys. That's really great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
But don't put it off.
I've actually been talking.
Don't put it
you're
off.
100% right. I've been talking to my husband about this for like
Do it.
about 2 weeks.
Come on now, do it. Erica.
Get it done.
What's that?
Come on, do it. Do it now.
Oh, yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. I will do it. I promise I will do it.
And it's gonna feel awkward. Just make sure your heart is in the right place when you do it. Because I know I had to do it twice. So
Yeah, if you think you're courageous, you're gonna find out just how fearful you really are when you go
Yep.
forgive your mama.
Wow.
yeah, so it's very awkward to bring it up, but you got to do it. You have to do it. Because it'll follow you, and that's what happened to me. It followed me. I thought I did it right the first time. I didn't, and it followed me that entire year after that until I did it right, and I literally just barely did it right. So there's a lightness to it. You're gonna feel so different. I can't even explain it.
And it's not about her. She shouldn't. If she doesn't get right, the only thing I would do if I had kids, I wouldn't if my mom was around and she didn't change, for example, and I was in your shoes, I wouldn't let my mom around my kids if I had them, if she was still living that way. Because
it's not necessary. She doesn't come around.
Yeah, because it's not, and it's again like the way I look at it, it's like she's possessed. It's not my mom, the real mom. She was born right. She was born perfect, and somewhere along the way, her mom destroyed her, just like her grandma destroyed her mother, and it was jumping generation to generation. So my real mom, her real spirit wasn't that evil that was trying to hurt me. It was that she let the anger in. So.
Yep.
Yeah, just like we have two realities. We have the reality of the world, and then we have the reality of the spiritual battle. When we come into this world, we got our pure identity, and then the world breaks us down and recreates us in a new identity. So when we kill that old identity, which is the ego, then we're reborn and able to come back to our original real identity. And so it's like there's two identities, and so when, like you said, it's like it's not your mom, it's the identity that she's created for herself to protect herself from facing the truth.
Wow, that's deep. Thank you.
Yeah, it's true.
You
And
explained
just
that very, very well. I've heard Jesse explain it. You explained that very well.
Yeah.
But yeah, you'll see it. As long as you can see your mom as that innocent little girl that she was at one time in her life, just like you were, then everything comes into perspective.
That's
you know what I
that's
mean?
real love. You actually
Yeah.
you can see the child in her
Mm-hmm.
beyond all the trauma, and it
Yes.
doesn't mean you don't have the power to take it away, but you have the power to observe it, not judge her for it, and then just move on with your life.
Yeah.
Whether or not she's a part of it, it doesn't matter as long as you're not holding on to it.
I can't thank you enough, guys.
Well, thank you for
Like,
calling.
it's so-
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Durga.
We'll be in touch, Ruxin.
And
Yeah.
call back after you do it.
Yeah, we want to hear about it.
It's fun to hang out.
You know, my plan is that I'm going to be in prayer and fasting for about a week or two, and then I'll talk to her.
All right, just don't do it while you're hungry.
There you go, shank her. Don't do it.
Angry. I mean, angry.
Angry.
Thank you, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Bye.
Bye.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's so different, man. That when you do it right. Woo. Nothing like it.
If you missed something in the chat, man, thank you guys for hanging out. We still have a good number. You guys still here? Thank you. This has been a good.
Yeah, it's been about 3 hours. I don't know how much longer we should go.
They've
Yeah.
been hanging on.
Good call, Mama.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, that was really good. Corn
That was a good
Pop's
call.
still here. All good calls today, man. Thank you guys.
Happy Sunday.
And thank you for those super chats. It does help.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
You know, a little goes a long way, and it'll help us reinvest in this and, you know, see what happens. Let it be revealed to us along the way. We're not trying to plan anything. Just go with the flow.
Yeah, I wanna like whatever we make from these videos, we want to put back into it to just let it grow and see what it is. And because at the end of the day, it's not about money. I think it's just about giving back and creating opportunity for people to get together and talk about stuff and overcome that fear of being able to talk about uncomfortable things. And because society is like trying to force people to be afraid, and I just want people to come hang out and just talk about whatever it is, and I won't hate you for it, whatever it is, even if you disagree with what we talk about.
Even if you hate us, we're not going to hate you.
I don't hate you, man.
I don't hate none of y'all. It's all love.
Well, I guess to go ahead and call it a show, but before we sign off, again, business-wise, if you guys need help with your credit, you need to get it right, this young lady right here can make that happen.
Yes, and again, now is the best time to do it. Believe it or not, we got some strategies for y'all. Can I say my website?
Absolutely, you plug it.
Yeah,
Plug it.
so also for JLP people, we are doing super duper deep discounts for y'all right now. So you can book a free consult with me personally at www.fixmyfightgonow.com, or you can call me at 213-340-5505.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. We'll fix your credit.
Come on down.
And of course, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Trevor's channel. So I know you guys already support him, but spread the word.
Who's that? Someone just sent a nice little super chat.
Blessed Mom. She's Durga.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you
That's
very
right.
much. And then please give us a call back. Let us know once you talk to your mother
Yes.
and handle it.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. Everything's gonna work out just fine.
Yeah.
Don't plan it. Just go.
God will speak through you. I promise you. Yes.
Oh yeah, and the number again I guess he might be asking about your number. What's your number again for credit?
Oh, my number is 213-340-5505.
One more time.
213-340-5505.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. That's it.
Bye. Good show, guys.